Hey, this is Tigo, and welcome to, an extension of Expert Talk. Today is International Women's Day, and we figured why not honor some women? Why not talk about their journeys? Why not share today? So we're going to be sharing all day. I've got 27 women coming up today. We're going to be talking about work, starting a business, growing your business, how to balance family and life, and how we're all dealing with COVID and still working and here, trying to get things just right every day and dealing with whatever new stress thing may be coming our way. Yeah, today is International Women's Day, and it is our first annual International Women's Day Marathon. And coming up right now is my business partner. She's been putting up with me since 1999. Hey, Ann, what's happening? How are ya?
Not too much. Just looking forward to. I'm good. About yourself?
I am good. I am good. So, like I said before we went live, I said, when I have these crazy ideas, you need to tell me to stop that.
I can't do that. You're the creative.
Yeah, but you're the logical one. 27 women. This is going to be so much fun. We've got somebody coming up from Germany. We got somebody in Indonesia. We've got a mom of 6. We've got someone who's New York Times bestseller multiple times. 19th book just dropped. This is about to be absolutely amazing, and I could not be happier. And I thank you so much for putting up with my craziness.
It's been my pleasure.
I don't have a lag, but Ann has a lag for some reason. I'm hoping that whatever's going on, we're both in Vegas, whatever's going on with Cox around here, that we can get this lag time out the way and actually be running the way we should be running, so we don't have a lag all day long. So Ann, let's talk about International Women's Day. I mean, you're a mom, you're a grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And you even have a little great guy, and he's starting to walk and talk and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. You're retired Navy. Yeah. You did things called food safety. Talk about being organized. And then you put up with me, and then you put up with me in your journey. I even know that you lived on an island for a while where they didn't even have cars. You had to ride on a bike or walk everywhere you went. In your journey all over the world, where's the one city, the one place that you love as much or even more than being here at home?
I liked Sydney.
Really?
The accent. Yeah, the accents. I mean, I liked. I didn't get to go to Paris, but I did like Rome. While Greece itself was, or Crete, I'm sorry, not Greece. I got off the ship before Crete or Greece. But each one of those has, I mean, Rhoda, Spain, every one of those cities, Jerusalem, holds a special place in my heart for various reasons. I mean, when you take a pilgrimage in Jerusalem, it's just one of a kind experience. Sydney, Australia, another experience where you can buy opals for like next to nothing, and which happens to be my daughter's birthstone. And then the Rome, I mean, the Pope, the Vatican, all those things. So I don't know if I could really pin it down to just one place.
Wow. Wow. Now, what would you say to someone? There are people watching right now that really have never left their hometown, let alone, just adventured here because, international travel right now, not so easy to do, nor do I advise doing it while we're in the midst of this COVID. But, traveling locally, I saw a news report the other day that said campgrounds are all sold out or about to be sold out for the summer because people are like, we're going to get out one way or another. What would you tell someone who says, I'm scared to travel? I don't know. I don't know what that's about.
I think you just have to practice safety. Don't be afraid. Just don't let fear capitalize you and or paralyze you. I heard something just recently. When you say "I am," that's what you put in. That's what you become. So if you say "I am afraid" or "I am confused" or "I am worried," that's what you become. So instead, say "I am going to be brave. I am going to travel. I'm going to be safe when I travel. I'm going to continue my life."
When you think about being a mom and a grandmom and having your little great, there are people that are they're young moms. They're just getting started. They're starting their business. Maybe they just joined the military. You and I both were prior Navy. It's like maybe they just joined the military. What would you tell them to prepare for in this journey ahead?
Let it come. Let it come. Um, Look for what the person is. Not I have a baby, I have a son, I have a daughter, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Is discover who that little tiny person is and then develop what that little tiny person is.
Yeah, truly, truly. So I got to ask you this question. I've been wanting to ask it for 21, 22 years. Have I completely driven you crazy in the last 22 years? What's it
Oh,
like to put up with
heavens
my
no.
crazy
Heavens
mind?
no. Amazing. It's truly an amazing been an amazing journey. And the reason I say that is you are a genius at what you do. You are a genius at painting a picture. You are a genius at solving challenges and issues. You are always able to see. I see like maybe like this, and you go like this, and to where it like just totally blows my mind. And it's been an amazing ride, and I'm ready for another 20 years.
I don't know. I'm thinking about a boat and a really nice like farmhouse somewhere in the next 15 or 20 years. But we can work on that. We could definitely work on that. I mean, especially if we can do this from our houses. I mean, I'm sitting whenever this time last year, I saw a thing that said this time last year was the last normal weekend we had in COVID. And I thought, okay, this time last year we were in studio, we were doing all this, the regular way. And now we're doing this remotely. Everybody is, from tiny, shows like ours to international shows. They're all doing this remotely. So if I could do this remotely for 20 years, I'd do that. I mean, being able to do a personal interview from time to time. But what we have coming up, the reason why we wanted to do International Women's Day, of course, is because it is International Women's Day. The other reason we wanted to do International Women's Day is because we have one of our biggest events we've ever put together in our 22 years of GEA. That was our original name of GEA with, Now for Life. We've got Now for Life coming up May 10th through the 12th. And that's going to be crazy. Now for Life stands for Network of Outstanding Women for Life. So we're going to do a full conference and we're going to honor 6 women. And it's going to be, this is you and I, we talked about it and we said, this is going to be our legacy project, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. This is going to be fun. So do you have the list? Because I do not have the list of the honors, because we're actually going to honor 6 women that day. We don't want to reveal who we're honoring just yet because a couple of them don't know about it and they're actually in the show today. So, but if you could give me the list, that would be awesome.
I'd be honored to give you the honors list, if you will. We're going to have an honored. I get a zing in every now and again. I'm the quiet one that sits in the corner and just Okay. But anyway, that honors list, we have a rising star honor. This is someone who is kind of new and up and coming. And when I say new, I'm not talking about 3 days old. It's someone that's got maybe 2 or 3 years under their belt, but they're constantly grinding and just making a way and helping people. Then we're going to have a trailblazer who's just lighting it on fire, just like the name says, who's moving and shaking and bringing a lot of people along with her. Then we have an influencer honor. This is someone who has or is reaching hundreds and thousands of people. I can't give any numbers away because I might lend an ear might that be, but starting very small and up in the high thousands. So an influencer reaching out and impacting a lot of people. And then we're going to have our Shero honor. And this Shero is the hero. She's the Shero. Someone that we all look up to, who's had an amazing life and has seen things that many of us have not or ever will see. Then we have our legend. I mean, what's to say? A legend is a legend. And then we will have our woman of the year.
Yep. Yeah. And the woman of the year, I mean, we just selected her. I'm super excited about who that is. I'm super excited about all the women that are going to be there. This is going to be a 3-day event. We're going to be running from May 10th to the 12th. Our plan is to do this on a live stage somewhere. Not this year, but hopefully next year or the year after. We're here in Vegas, so there's tons of stages for us to take advantage of. MGM, we have friends over there. We have friends over at Mandalay Bay. So we're looking that way. We want to have 10,000 women in an arena when it's safe, just losing their minds for Now for Life. And Now for Life will be the Monday, May 10th, 11th, and 12th, virtually this year. And then hopefully next year or the year after, it's going to be on a live stage, because you and I have both been to mega events. And usually the women there is a small percentage. And there's 10 or 20,000 people just losing their minds. And then we go to a women's event and it's at the Holiday Inn in the back with dry donuts. We're not doing that. We want this to be mega. We want to honor these women and tell them how important they are. We're even going to create a Hall of Fame. We're going to have a Walk of Fame. It's going to be awesome. So I hope everybody can come and hang out with us on May 10th through the 12th, because that's what it's all about. This is our launch pad with International Women's Day, and then we're going to be building up to Now for Life on May 10th through the 12th.
Yep. I think we're going to be able to show that women have come a long ways. I'm probably one of the older in the group, where I remember back to, if you think of happy days, I remember back to those days. I grew up in those days. The guys wearing little shirts and little ties, and the girls could not wear slacks by any stretch of the imagination. And if you were in the military at that time, you got pregnant, you got out. That was just it. But now we've got fighter pilots, we've females, we've got,
yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, the world has come a long way. Yeah.
Well, I thank you, my friend, one of my best friends, your family, you're my sister, and we've been through all this stuff together. We're just getting started. Our first guest is about to pop in here. She's sitting in the virtual green room, and she's going to come up. And I want to thank you for hanging out with me, help me kick this off. It's about to be crazy. You guys want to stay. You want to stay right here, because you don't want to miss out one of these interviews. And I thank you for hanging out, and I'll talk to you soon.
Of course. Sure thing.
All right. So coming up now, we have Stephanie Simbeck coming to the stage, and she's actually in Germany. She was born here, but I don't want to give away too much information. Her journey has been something that I've literally seen in movies and you dreamed of actually being able to do. And this young lady has been doing it for almost 25 years, I believe. Hey, Stephanie, what's happening?
Hello, Teresa.
How are you?
I'm good. Actually, it's afternoon. Is it morning there? It's 9 in the morning?
It's 8:45 in the morning. You've already, so how's today? Because you've already seen it. Is it a good day?
Here, we had blue skies. It's beautiful.
So in Germany, what part of Germany are you in?
I'm in Bavaria. That's southern Germany.
Wow. And what, I don't know, I've never been to Germany. So what major city would I have learned about in Chicago Public School?
Well, you should learn about Berlin, the Berlin Wall. You should learn about, the Olympics, Berlin. You should learn about Munich, um, maybe Ingolstadt, Nuremberg. You should learn about that. Hamburg, Cologne, where they have the version of the Mardi Gras. It's called Fasching.
They have their own version of the Mardi Gras. So do you guys do the beads and the whole like music celebration?
Yes, it's crazy. Costumes, it's crazy.
Wow, that's really cool. Let's talk about how you got to Germany because you actually speak fluent German now. You have children now. You've been there for
Yes,
over half of your life, correct?
absolutely. Absolutely.
So how did you get there? Where are you originally from?
I was born in Chicago. I grew up in Detroit.
Chi-town.
Hello. And hey, shout out to the D. Hello. Um, and I went to U of M, and I ended up working at the Fox Theater. And that led me to meet someone who worked in Germany. And yeah, it was love. I came to Germany, and that's the way the story started.
Now, come on. We got a lot more to tell than that because you're a model, you're an actor, you started your own business, you're a choreographer. I mean, you're taking care of artists agency. Don't just sit there and say, "Oh, that brought me to Germany." Come on now, tell me some dirt. I want to know.
Well, I was involved in theater. He was involved in theater. So when I came to Germany, I continued to do artist management or not artist management, more so it was, say, artist care. For example, he worked at the Deutsches Theater. We had Eartha Kitt there. I spent 2 weeks with Eartha Kitt. I have not one photo, not one photo. I spent 1 week every day with Eartha, just hanging
Wait a
out.
minute. What? Why do you not have one? Well, it wasn't the time of cell phones and people taking selfies all the
Um,
time, right? So, but not one. Not we can't do a call to action and say, "Hey, where's the photos of you and Eartha Kitt?"
it was such an intimate experience that I didn't do it. I really have to say that.
Now, I saw pictures of you. I've been to Japan. I wasn't there at this time, but I saw a picture of you in an ad that was on a giant billboard in like Japan somewhere. How does stuff like that happen?
Oh, well, that happens when I get hired for international productions. And being in Germany, you get that possibility because speaking English, they need someone who speaks English. Actually, Germany is a place where there are so many international productions being done because you have such a diverse culture here, believe it or not. People, they don't think so, but it is. It's a very diverse culture here.
So, what happens when you say it's a very diverse culture here? What happens when you're in Germany? When you went there, you were not speaking the language. You had to find your way through. How were you welcomed? How did you manage to literally survive? Because you've been there over 20 years.
Well, I was in the circle of artists, and that makes it easier because,
Okay.
artists, we have a big heart. We're international. So that made it very easy. But what I did do is I landed 1 week later, I was in language school and I studied for 3.5 years.
Wow. So language school, how many languages do you speak?
Well, English, German, I do American Sign Language, and I'm studying a couple other languages. I'm going to keep that secret right now because it'll say what I'm going to be doing next.
I'm sure there are young ladies out there, probably young men watching it as well, but there are young ladies out there, they want to be a model, they want to be an actor, they want to travel, they may want to live in Germany. How would you tell them to get started? What do you do?
Um, what do you do? I think it always starts with your passion. You just know. Some things
Mm-hmm.
you know. First, you need to know because you're going to set out on a journey that is going to test your faith.
Uh-huh.
So do that first. Know that. And just prepare for an adventure. And one thing you should always do is always develop yourself. You'll be okay. Just develop yourself.
Now, when you say always develop yourself, what does that mean to you? I mean, it's hard enough when you're trying to build a business or expand past your comfort zone and you're sitting in your parents' home or your own home, right here in your hometown. How do you do that and keep your mind, on the prize and on the goal when you're literally living in another country that doesn't even speak your native language? How did you develop yourself to this point?
Like I said, it was easy being around artists. There were a lot of people who spoke English. It was easy for me. The people in the country allowed it. They were very open. I was in Munich. Munich is very, very international. And those people who didn't speak German, they were kind enough to speak what we call speaking with your hands and your feet. You know, you're pointing, and they're pointing, and you're smiling, and you just find a way to communicate.
Yeah, that reminds me of being in China. I just
Yeah,
listen for my name. They're like, how do you stay in Hong Kong? I listen for my name. Other than that, I look where they're pointing, you know?
yeah. And I think that's the same thing that you do when you're home or you're out, you're developing yourself. Even when you're in the midst of being successful,
Mm-hmm.
develop yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Always develop yourself. Take the opportunity. Never be too busy.
Yeah.
And never think when something didn't happen that it was a failure. It's a lesson. It's an opportunity. And I know people may hear it over and over again, but it's true. It's so true.
Out of all your talents, and you're a very talented young lady, out of all your talents, what's the one thing you truly love that you would do, and whether you got paid for it or not, whether you got sleep or not, what's that one thing that's just your passion?
Being a mother.
Ah, I love it. I love it. So that does bring up the question because you
The
are a
best, the
mom of
best, the
two.
best two things I ever produced.
Yeah, one of them, from rumor has it, one of them's becoming a little chef. So I may need to come over there and have a meal or two because he's
Oh,
doing his thing.
oh no. Well, he's only cooking for himself right now, so I think maybe he'd rather go into something with computers, animes, or something like that.
Oh, I could help with that. Maybe he needs to give me a jingle. So, what's it
Yeah.
been like being a mom, an American citizen, and now you have husband, children in Germany? How has that been? How have you been able to give them that, South Side, Chicago, Detroit side of them and still keep them in the culture they're in Germany?
Um, I have to honestly say television helped because they were able to see through art.
Mm-hmm.
Theater helped. Um, Reading books, going to other events that provided them to meet other people who looked like me
Yeah.
helped. Those things, exposing them to that. And not as oh, I have to expose you to this because you don't have it. It's like, this is the world we live in. This is how much exposure you have to that part of you. You decide how much you take in.
I totally get that. Now let me ask you, I got to tell the world, you are our superstar cousin. You are my cousin.
No.
Yeah,
You're gonna make me cry.
You're our superstar cousin. I mean, I've told everybody for 20, my cousin lives in Germany. She's a superstar model. You don't know. She's an actor. She's doing this. She's doing that. And from where we come from in our family, I mean, I'm first generation away from sharecropper. My parents were sharecroppers. Your grandparents were. And it's, to be able to go from that, from just hoping to get a job. My mother told me, I just hope to get a job. To be able to go from just hoping to get a job to now, living in Germany for over 20 years. And actually, you killing it over there. You're not, working at McDonald's or something like that. You're doing your thing. I want to tell you, I'm so proud of you. I want to tell the world that, yep, that's my cousin. One day I'm going to get over there. We were actually planning on me coming, and then the world kind of stopped. But we're going to get this happening. You've got a lot of stuff going on. I hope that you can come to International Women's Day, even virtually, and be a part of that, because, you're doing your thing, cuz I am super proud of you and everything that you're doing over there.
Well,
So what's coming up? Thank you. So what's coming up next for you? What are you going to be doing in your next project when COVID's over? What's next?
Well, right now I'm doing actually several things, because COVID, it allowed me to get a lot of things going that normally it would take a little longer because of the process of the business. So I'm starting a new agency. I'm writing. I'm actually starting a script and also a book that is featuring my oldest brother, who is autistic. And the scripts it's about something about the African heritage, about, it will have something, a little bit of mixture of fiction and nonfiction, but it will definitely be something about women. And I've have always projects for modeling coming up. Those things are still available. Being a mother, my kids are starting taking their driver's license. I'm so nervous.
No, they're not old enough for that. They're not old enough for that. They're still little kids in diapers. They're not old enough for that. I don't want to hear that.
I'm on the film set, and people are checking their handies for stuff, and I'm looking at, I'm like, I'm checking my kids, and I'm like, what are they doing? And other people, they're walking around doing other stuff, and I'm like, this is so new for me sometimes, because I had taken time off in between because I didn't want someone else to raise my kids, so that was really important to me. And so now they're older, and I can do it all. And so so I've got like all of these irons in the fire. I'm juggling it all. So I'm just running. I'm running.
And you're running. In 2021, is it important to have an agent? Is it important to have a manager? Do you still need all of that in 2021 when, a lot of things are being virtual, a lot of things are being independent? How has it changed your industry?
Oh, it's important to always have management. It's important to have management. It's important to have a mentor. It's important to have a network, a circle of friends, people you can network with, do feedback with, get information, because it's just like any job. You don't want to make mistakes. Mistakes cost you. And this way, it costs in your career, making the mistakes you're making. You want to do this, you want to have success, you want to have longevity, so those things are important. And people, they always talk about what's really, let's say the sparkles and the shine of it. The
shiny object syndrome. Yep.
The work you put into it. For example, Viola Davis, she was saying that Chad, he deserved the award. because of the pages of the text that he wrote. He had to memorize. He deserved it. This wasn't he's getting it because he's Black. She said such and such and such and such, but I'm going to say Black. I'm going to say it. I did it. I said it. But
I did it. I said it.
I said it. So he did the work, and that's what you need to do. You need to put in the work. Put in the work. Know that it's work. It's hard work. And keep the faith.
I mean, they call it starving artists for a reason, right? I mean, you guys really have to go through it because mainstream, business and all of that, they don't understand it. They don't understand the creative process. They're used to 9 to 5s, and you go in and you do your 10 or 11 steps that you do every day, and then you go home and rinse and repeat and do it again tomorrow. But as a creative person, you may be, playing the role of somebody's sister one day and then modeling on a runway the other. So you have to keep your mind open to things, correct?
Or the same day.
Or the same day. Okay.
The same day. Yeah, the same day. It's you have to, that's the thing about being an artist. Preparing, staying focused. And that level of professionalism is very, very important. Very important.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you for sharing a few minutes with us. I'm so happy to see you because we don't get to see you enough. We're going to work on that so I can see you more. But I love you. I am super proud of you. And thanks for coming in and hanging out with me on my crazy little idea of doing a marathon on International Women's Day. I appreciate you, cuz.
Happy International Women's Day to all of the other women. I am so honored to be here. Thank you, cousin. I love you.
Thank you. Love you too.
Let's talk recipes.
Oh, that's right. She just told me she has a family barbecue sauce recipe. I cannot wait. I cannot. Don't mess with me. See, this is about to be a cooking show.
Hey, cousin, and the family Kool-Aid spoon.
Wrong. All right, go. Goodbye. I love you. I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right, that was Stephanie Simbeck. And yes, she's in Germany. She's been there for over 25 years. She's been doing her acting thing. She's been, a model, an actor, an agent, and a mom. And when you ask her what all the things, she's lived everywhere, been on billboards, on giant building-sized billboards in Japan. And you ask her, what does she love most? She says, I love being a mom. That was the best thing she ever did and is doing. And she's a great mom too. So I'm going to play a little spot. And then when we come back, Ann and I are going to talk about what's coming up next for Expert Talk. So sit right there. We'll be right back.
Hey, I have a quick question for you. Do you want a professional agency to handle all your video creation, syndication, and monetization needs? We totally understand that new leads and customers are the lifeblood for any business. And if you're looking to grow or scale your business, using video is definitely the best way to go. Here at Melrose 11, we specialize in getting you the results you need to help you grow your business by generating new leads, driving more traffic, and closing more sales without breaking your bank. Did you know, according to HubSpot, having a well-targeted video on your landing page can increase conversions by up to 80%? Yeah, and up to 64% of users are more likely to buy a product online after watching video than by text alone. And that 92% of mobile users share videos with others. And 90% of users say that videos are helpful in their purchase decision making. Incorporating video into your marketing and social media activity is no longer an option, it's an absolute requirement if you're looking for long-term success. Heck, it may even be essential for the very survival of a business. Here at Melrose 11, media truly is our passion. We create animated explainer videos, social teasers, catchy intros, full HD commercials, and even viewer interactive videos. So, if you're looking to elevate your brand, or attract more leads, generate more sales, increase traffic, or build up more exposure for your business, then you've definitely come to the right place. Our professional team will develop your video campaigns at an affordable price, with our fast turnaround times, and a quality of work that can't be beat. We look forward to working with you.
Hey, Ann, welcome back. We have a guest that was double booked, and we didn't know if they were coming in the morning or coming in the afternoon. And I think she's coming in the afternoon because she is not here.
She's just playing it safe, hedging her bets, I guess, huh?
That's okay. That's okay. So I wanted to chat with you anyway because, we just talked about it. I just ran that spot, and we have been doing web and television production and a little bit of everything that has to do with media for quite some time. Do you remember when we started with Unity and I spelled it all funny?
Yeah.
YOONITE. Yeah. And people said, what the heck is that? What's a unite? And why y'all doing that? Do you remember that?
I do actually, and the colors and everything else. That was something else. That was the beginning of seeing just how creative you can be.
Yeah, that was 2000. I can't believe that was
Mm-mm.
2000. I wasn't thinking about being a grandmother then. Now I'm a grandmother of 3, and I wasn't thinking about, even being on this side of the camera. Lillian McMorris and you and Melissa and a couple of others for years have said, go sit in front of the camera, go host. And I thought, you guys are nuts. I'm not going to go host. That's not what I do. I'm a techie. I sit in a dark room and I create stuff. I don't sit in front of the camera. And I can't believe it's been a year of sitting in front of the camera now. We have done almost, when this show is over today, we will have over 115 interviews in the last year, which is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So, we got to acknowledge the one guy that's a part of this. Our business partner, Alan, is out there. Usually when we do a live stream, I know it's killing him because usually when we do a live stream, he's right on here with us. He's going for it. But this is all about International Women's Day. So I didn't even bring our honorary guy, to come on. But hey, Alan, we love you. We know you're out there watching and we truly appreciate you. We'll figure out the next time. He'll be there. He'll be in Now for Life, even though that's a women's event. Alan will be a part of Now for Life for sure. We've been talking about movies over the years, possibly doing film. We've done music videos. We've produced God knows how many talk shows. What's the one thing that you love as the operations person? Because you make sure everything on the back of this stuff, it works the way it's supposed to work.
I think it's the planning stage, seeing you go through the creative phase of a idea,
crazy phase,
the spark of an idea, and it just grows and blossoms. It's kind of like watching any kind of flower or blooming plant that it just slowly opens and to the full beauty of what it is. And so I think it's just watching that creative spark to the final product.
I think that we do really well, the 4 of us, because there's me, you, Alan, and then Geraldine. And we all kind of have our own specialty. And mine is to drive y'all crazy. I understand that. But I think that we do really well in not stepping on each other's toes and being able to blaze the trail together and help hold each other up. I want to tell everybody how much I appreciate you because you have been there, through the ups, the downs, the craziness. Every idea that I've done, we've had 5 or 6 that went completely flat, and you've never given up faith. And I tell everybody you're our captain. And I have to run it past the captain because we are a Navy family. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for putting up with my crazy, let's go do this today attitude. Because we just came up with another event for November and you were like, okay, let's go. I have to tell you, you're the strong one. I'm the crazy one. You're the strong one.
Well, I have to say it's been my pleasure because I'm the kind of person that can't draw a straight line with the ruler. And I think in Excel spreadsheets. So the visionary that you are has enabled me to live vicariously, if you will, through you. So if anybody's ever read, I think it's, I've forgotten the name of it all of a sudden, but it talks about two key people in any business, one of them being the visionary, and you are that in spades. Coming up with new ideas, seeing things that other people can't see. And then you're so skilled at painting that picture so that other people can see. Even me, someone that kind of looks at things in black and white, and all of a sudden I'm seeing this full masterpiece. And then myself, who is kind of, like I said, I think in a spreadsheet format. How do we get from point A to point B? But that's been a learning experience for me too, because sometimes I have to forget the how and move forward, which is in enabling your visionary piece of that.
Oh, I appreciate that. We're going to be talking with women. I mean, Sarah is sitting in the virtual green room right now. I can't wait to bring her up. Yeah, talk about somebody who knows how to organize and kind of herd the cats, because she's been running and just doing her thing, helping businesses get going. Yeah, and she's a mom. Yeah, Sarah's coming. It's about to be on. But I wanted to talk with you a little bit more, and you're going to be popping in and out throughout the day. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But I wanted to talk with you a little bit more about the organizational side of what we do, because there are people out there that are in a business, or they just got a business partner, and they are stepping on each other because they're both trying to be creative, or they're both trying to do operations and all that kind of stuff. We have a ranking system. She's the captain. That's it. But others, what would you tell them about just being able to cohabitate and move forward together?
I think it's recognizing what each one's strengths are. Now, if you've got two visionaries together, you need to find what's called an integrator. It's called Rocket Fuel, is the name of the book, by the way. Is find an integrator, because it's going to be a clash. You're going to have a million ideas, and none of them are going to go anywhere. Nothing gets executed. If both of you are integrators and executors and planners, but neither one of you have an idea that can go anywhere, then you're kind of struggling. You got to go find a visionary. So I think the advice is, if you're a visionary, find an integrator, or someone who can execute for your plans and your ideas and strategies. If you're an integrator or someone who can execute and plan and develop all these processes, find somebody that's a visionary. That's key. I believe that's really key, and I think that's why we've lasted so long. You are excellent at what you do. I'm okay at what I do.
You are awesome at what you do. We wouldn't be sitting here if you didn't do what you do. I'd still be in a room somewhere going, this will be great. This will be great. No, you are awesome at getting this brain organized and moving forward, and not getting into shiny object syndrome. We're going to talk with Sarah about that, about people getting distracted, because she's a master at bringing you back and getting you back on course. And so are you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But I would say you've got to look for, in some respect, you've got to look for your polar opposite.
Okay. I appreciate that. And I love you. I appreciate you hanging out with me. We're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back, we're going to hang out with Sarah Morrison, and she's going to make it straighten up and fly right. So sit right there. We'll be right back. Okay, so coming up right now, we have Sarah Morrison. Hey, Sarah, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Chico, how are you?
I am really, really, really good and really happy you could come and hang out with us because I know for a fact that you are always super busy.
There's always something going on or something to do, but I don't know how to live any other way. Do you know how, like, when people talk about it and that's just my normal? So I don't know what else other people do.
You know, you have on your website, it says you are an entrepreneur builder. You know how bold of a statement that is? What does that mean that you're an entrepreneur builder?
Do you know, I love the entrepreneurial world, and I was watching your conversation with Anne just a minute ago, and where she said like the dreamers need the doers and that kind of thing. And as I understand the entrepreneurial world, I love it. I've lived it. And now I really, really love to help other people build their businesses and their entrepreneurial dreams. And I know that I have a strength in that area. And so when I say, to build other entrepreneurs up, they're looking for a little bit, maybe advice of what to do this way or how to set up. And I've got just enough little bits here and there that have added up to success. So, that's what we do around here.
That's what we do around here. Let's go back a second because I definitely want to talk about family because
Sure.
you are a mom of 6.
6, yes.
You know, my grandson runs around here. We have 3 grandsons, but the youngest, he's not even 2 yet, and he runs this house. So I cannot imagine being a mom of 6. So I definitely want to talk about that. But before we get there, I want to talk about the fact that you are not only working with like startup entrepreneurs and people that are trying to find their way down the path, but you're working with like superstar entrepreneurs that have egos the size of Texas, and you've got to get them to see the opportunity, correct?
Yeah. We have all kinds.
How do you get them focused? How do you get someone like me? Because you're literally one of my coaches. So how do you get someone like me who is all over the place? I mean, I've got 15 ideas running in my head right now,
But
just
which
sitting
one?
still.
But which one is going to move you closest to your goal?
See,
Like,
that's
I mean,
why we listen to her.
That's the bottom line. So if our goal is to, increase viewership or increase leads because we're getting ready to launch something, then absolutely, hey, let's do this. But if you're like, I just want to do it, okay, then we're going to have a conversation about that, because there's a time and a place for that and a time and a place to try new things. But if it's your goal to hit a certain revenue or to hit a certain list size or to hit, to launch a new product, there are verified ways that are going to get you there. And we all love to see whatever other people are doing. And we do have the shiny object syndrome and like, oh, look at what they've done over there. And I'm like, no. Stay the course. Like, finish this first. Just write it down. We've got like, I jot it down on a Trello board, guys. If you're a paper person, I'm a paper person. I've got a planner, or a list or something, but don't follow that one until this one is done. Because if you have 50% finished projects on everything, you actually have nothing.
But how do you know which one is going to get you closer to the goal? Because all of the shiny objects are attracting me and others because we think that'll work better. Oh, wait, this will work better. How do you know when you need to just stay here, keep moving on the course you're on, and worry about that stuff later? How do you know?
That is such a great question. And I think that as entrepreneurs, at the end of the day, your market votes. Right? So if you are, let's use the example of we want to sell a product. And I live in the space of sales funnels and click funnels. And so there are definite proven models. These have worked for entrepreneurs. They have worked for our company. Go this route first. Okay. And then if the market doesn't like it, or you have this funnel up and running, the market will vote with their wallets. then we can start to tweak. We can test headlines, we can test elements, we can test if, certain things, but it's scientific to some extent because you still have to have this baseline. So there's always going to be a fun new thing to try, and that's awesome. But at the end of the day, there is a reason these things work. Do those first, then start layering in the tests and the fun things and see if those also produce results.
Now, you mentioned ClickFunnels, so I was waiting for that.
We're going there.
There's a little trophy behind you. It's not a Grammy. You didn't win it for singing. No. There's a little thing called 2 comma behind you. Can you explain what that is? Because yours is a little different. Not only what that means, but you got it for like literally leading the pack. So can you tell me what that is back there?
Sure. We have an award inside the ClickFunnels community called a 2 comma award. And that is for any business that processes $1 million or more in revenue through a sales funnels using ClickFunnels. And so my award is specifically for helping the ClickFunnels company generate that revenue through the 2CCX coaching program that I oversee. And as you mentioned, as part of that, our goal inside the 2CCX program is to get our members to the 2 comma award. And so I work with our coaches to make sure that our membership is moving towards that goal.
Yeah, you guys heard her right. She said 2 comma. And in case you haven't figured it out, $1 million has what?
2 comma. Yeah.
2 commas. So rate $1 million or 2 commas from a single funnel in a single year. And no, she's not the only one on the planet that has those. There are literally almost 1,000 people out there that has those.
Yeah, I have lost track at this point. I keep track of my members, but and really also keeping track of who's really close and how. And as you mentioned, with the what to follow, like those are the times where you could tweak and test and play a little bit. Like, let's see what else is gonna push you over the edge. So anyway, yeah, that's what I do. I love what I do, and I love serving the community that I serve. And it's really interesting because I think in the entrepreneurial space, sometimes if you're not an entrepreneur, you can, like, boo, you get looked down a little bit, like this is the lifestyle to, go to. And I have no doubt that I could do it on my own, but it brings me great pleasure and just such a sense of fulfillment to help others fulfill that dream.
I saw where you said that the phrase "you are enough," and a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, have a problem where, and I've done it too, where we hold ourselves back because we feel like I'm not ready. It's not perfect. It's not great. It's not whatever. How do you know when you're enough? How do you teach your clients? I'm one of your students. How do you teach us that we are enough?
I think that imposter syndrome hits everybody. It does not matter how much money has gone through your bank account. Okay. If I could share a quick story, my journey, we're celebrating International Women's Day here. And my journey to this position started because I found myself a suddenly single mom of 5. I had no money. I didn't know how I was going to do this. And one step led to another. I taught myself certain skills. I started selling my services. Then I started coaching, and I just kind of moved on up. And I say all of that because as I sit here in this chair now, as I have my 2 comma award, as I know what I've got in my head, those feelings still rise up. And there was a very particular moment 2 years ago at a live event. I was there with my team. My boss was there. All of my team members were there. And I absolutely had an anxiety attack. I meltdown, just lost it because I was like, I am not fit to be sitting here. Like, I cannot do this. And do you know what came to mind as I went back to my hotel room was a Bible story of how, Moses is arguing with God and saying, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And God got mad at him. He's like, I have made you for this moment. Like everything we've done has led you here. I mean, if you're going to argue with me, I will go ahead and send your brother. But the fact of the matter is, I set you up for this. You are prepared for this. I have designated you for this. And
Wow.
that just really resonated with me because I still have my own demons. I still don't think that I am the most qualified person to sit here and to coach millionaires and soon to be millionaires every day. But the fact is, there are other people who recognize that in me. I do recognize that I have certain skill sets. And if I do not use them to serve the community that I serve to its fullest extent, you are doing them a disservice. So if anybody else is in the same position of imposter syndrome and saying, well, I can't possibly do it. If you think that somebody else can serve your tribe better, why are you even doing what you're doing? Because if you think that you are the best person for the job, and by God, you better believe that. Like if you're going out there and whatever it is you're selling, a product or a service, and you're like, mine is the best, you are, Myron Golden says, selling is serving. Like if I'm not giving you the best, then I'm not loving you the best way. So, take that to the bank, like show up for your people. Let's go,
Speaking of love, Jamie Wolf just popped on and she says she's sending love and respect to Sarah.
Yeah,
She's coming up later today.
Good.
She's coming up later today. Now, before I let you go, we've got to talk about Mom of 6.
Talk about my babies.
Your babies. You've got 6, and these are little people. I mean, they range from
they
what? 14,
run the
15?
gamut for sure. We have a new teenager in the house. So I've got 14, 13, 11, 9, almost 7, and 3.5.
And 3.5. Okay.
That 3.5-year-old's the one that's gonna do you in. I know you were talking about your grandson, and that's the one that keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, they run the ship. Let's just put it out there. They run the ship.
Yeah.
How are you able to handle being a mom of 6? That right there said sleep for 10 hours. You need a vacation right now. Mom of 6. And run the group of 2 the way you do, and you have skills. I mean, I'll be thinking things and look in the 2 group, and there you've posted it.
I've already thought of it. Well,
if you're thinking this, how do you balance between those 2 worlds?
First off, I am married again, and I have an amazing partner, and he definitely helps. So I have to give huge kudos to that. I mean, I've done the single thing, I've done the married thing. I'm here to say, like, having a partner to help definitely does help. But the number one thing that I do is time blocking. And like when I'm in, I'm all in. And I'm making a commitment to my family specifically this year. It's one of my goals for 2021 is stepping away from my desk. I think that, what everybody experienced this last year when we went home to work, regardless if you're an employee or an entrepreneur and you're working from home, your home is your life, is your family, is your kids, is your computer, is, like I make a specific boundary and say, I am done and I'm stopping now and I'm going to go be with the people that matter to me. And I time block my day. So I have some hours in the morning that are for me. Then I go to work. And then in the evening, it is all in with my family. It is weekends with my family. And I am also very blessed. They do come in and out of the room. My 7-year-old run in to say, I want to give you a hug. Oh. And of course the answer is yes. So, it's finding what works for you, but time blocking definitely works for me. Like these are the hours when I do this, and then I set that guilt down. I set those boundaries in place. I've actually started putting an out of office responder on at like 5:00 on my work email, just to free my own mind. Like I've told you all what my boundary is. I've said I'm stepping away to spend time with my family. And I very much want to see your email, but I'm gonna address it tomorrow morning, and That's what works for me.
And with that note, I want to thank you. I want to drop in a little note from my coach, my other coach, NJ. She said she's loving Sarah, showing up for the people. This is what you guys do. You definitely keep us focused. And I'll be honest, if it wasn't for 2 Comma and everything that you guys are doing, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this right now. So I thank you so much for all that you do. And
thanks for having me.
Taking away time from your little six group right there. You got your own baseball team. I appreciate you. I truly appreciate you. And I thank you for hanging out with me.
Thank you, Tigo.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Coming up next, I know her. You know her. You're going to hear the voice and go, I know that voice. This person, well, this is Jennifer Hammond. And if you don't know Jennifer Hammond's name, I bet you know her favorite phrase. Hey, Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Well, I'm so happy to be with you. And yes, you're right. My favorite phrase is, yay! Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I love that phrase. It's part of my day. And it's just, you bring this energy just from the basement to the ceiling to the top of, Empire State Building with your yay, your hello. It's even on your voicemail, and you go, that's Jennifer Hammond. Now, for the people that may not recognize your name, I know they recognize your voice. Where do they recognize your voice from?
Sirius XM radio. I was on Sirius XM radio for almost 12 years. And it was so much fun because I love helping people. And in particularly, of course, my core competence is real estate. So I love people helping them with financial literacy, but owning their own home. And then, of course, taking that next step into real estate investing. So I just had so much fun. I was on every Saturday morning for 2 hours, and it was a live show, so I got to do a lot of interacting with people. And then over the years, we've done lots of specials because, I'm extremely passionate about helping veterans become more able and heal from whatever happened. Just like you, I want to say thank you for your service.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. How do you stay focused on the prize? Let's talk about that. How do you expand your reach? Because you have now left Sirius FM and now you're going forward. You're going to switch over from, radio to television. And, what's your plan? What are you doing next? What's going on?
Well, I'm about to do a television show. Yay! And it's going to be all over the place. It's going to be worldwide. And I'm so excited because one of the things that I'm really focusing on with the television show is finding that yay in every day. And each of us can do it if we look hard enough. And I know there's some days where it seems like there are no yays today. But if we look harder, we can find the yay. So we always have to be looking for that silver lining. And as you know, I didn't have a great childhood. So believe me, I've had to really figure this out because it wasn't fun when I was a kid. And there was a lot of times when I should have been having a lot of fun and I was not having fun. It was not a pleasurable thing. My mother was an alcoholic and she was extremely abusive, both physically as well as verbally. And I think when you start off as a child, and like for me, one of the things that I heard, my mother would scream over and over and over again. And it was words that I don't never, ever forget. And that is, she would say, my mother would say, I wish you were never born.
Oh my goodness. How do you handle somebody saying that, anyone saying that, but your mother saying that? How did you survive through that? Because you're one of the most positive people I know. So how did you survive through that and still be able to keep your positivity, still be able to keep moving forward?
Well, I would say that one of the secrets that I realized really young was I used to always talk about, I loved cartoons and just fantasy, and the fact that I loved the story about wishing upon a star and all my dreams would come true. And of course, one of my dreams was that my mother would be nice, that she wouldn't be an alcoholic. And my dream was that she would realize that I was supposed to be born and that I was a good person. And I realized that for me, that was also partly getting out of wishing and getting into doing. Just like you said about with even going from Sirius XM, now I have podcasts and I'm going into hosting a television show. And I'm so grateful to you for all the things that you've taught me. You've taught me so much and you inspire me in so many ways. Talk about all the juggling that's out there because you're just going out there and doing it. It's not just a whole bunch of talk. And that's to me the secret. Even as a child, I recognized, if we sit around and dream, I could hide, I could stay hidden. And most of us prefer that. We like to stay hidden because it makes us feel like we're going to be safe. And yet that's not the truth. The best thing is to go out and do something. Even like if you're feeling horrible today, one of the best things you could do is go out and take a walk. You can listen to Tigo on a podcast or on all the different platforms. You can listen, but go out and do something. Go help somebody else. And that's probably the other secret to kind of turning the corner for me and starting to find my happiness from my very, very unhappy childhood was actually learning to help someone else. That's the other amazing secret, is finding someone else that you can help. And it brings an inner joy that is so special. And that's really where that yay came from. I was celebrating, oh my gosh, look, not only did I get to help them, but now they're doing better. And I mean, there's nothing like that.
What would you tell someone that has had a rough childhood or could be having a rough relationship as an adult, and they've been told their self-esteem is so low that they know they have talents, but they've been told for so long, you can't, you're never gonna, you're not. And they've kind of given up and they're watching right now going, well, maybe I can. What would you tell them?
I would say to that person who is thinking right now, maybe I can, but you're not sure. I would say, absolutely, you can. 100%. I will tell you, if you don't have certainty, I have certainty for you. You absolutely can. One of the secrets to that is go ahead and take inventory and start making a list. Right now, make a list. Okay, so these are things that are either negatives that you think of yourself. Make a list of the good things and make a list of the bad things, and then see how you can extend that list and make it even longer on the good things. And then, even if you only have one good thing, the other secret to that is celebrate the win. So there might have been the losses and the things that you did wrong, or the things that you're invalidating yourself and making yourself less for. That list might seem really long, but what I want you to do is focus on the things that you did right. Focus on your strengths and celebrate those. I mean, even to the point where when nobody's looking, go into a bedroom or go into a bathroom and go, yay! And just
I love her. I love her. Yes, radio show host, soon to be television talk show host, entrepreneur, but you are a real estate broker, agent. I never know the right terms. You correct me if you must. And how do you do that in COVID? How do you sell houses? And, because I'm sure there's somebody out there who had planned on going to real estate school, or maybe they went and then COVID hit and they went, oh, well, I can't sell anything right now. And they're just sitting there, but it's not stopping you. How do you do that?
Well, first of all, you have to go with the mindset of what you just said. If you think you can't, then you're right. Guess what? You're right. If you think you can, guess what? You're right. And I think that's Henry Ford. It's been said, a bunch of different famous people say it. And I would say it to anyone, if you're thinking this right now, you need to know that you can. Just like I said before about if you're thinking you're not able to do something, remember, you are. You are so much more powerful than you realize. You have that yay that's kind of bubbling out somewhere. It was so fun. I talked to, another one of your guests, Jen Duplessis, and she said, oh gosh, Jennifer, now I move my hands like you do. And I go, yay. And she said, I'm not trying to steal it from you. And I said, oh my gosh, you can steal the yay, because I want everyone to say their yay. I want everyone to find their yay in every day and know that it's there. It's there for all of us. And you just have to allow yourself to look and you will find things that you can admire about yourself. You'll find things that you like about yourself. Even if you have 99% of the things you're like, I don't like where I am. I've made bad choices. I'm in a bad relationship. Whatever's happening, it doesn't matter. So to answer your question, the long roundabout way is, if you think you can, number one, it's your mindset. Number two, in real estate right now, especially real estate sales, if you're trying to buy or sell houses, so much of this can be done virtually because we have technology. So we have virtual tours, you know, we have all of these amazing ways that we can do it. So if you want to go and you want to tour a house right now, you can even put on those virtual Google glasses and you can walk through in virtual reality of houses if you want to do it that way. You can have a video tour. There's so many different solutions, but they all go back to amazing technology. Just like the drones. Now we have these drones that fly over and they give you a real perspective on a house. Is it waterfront? Is it, close to something you don't want to be near? You now have the opportunity because of technology, and quite frankly, the pandemic has yanked all sorts of real estate agents who were not using technology. Now they're being forced to find a way, and that's like it's making people be more creative, like they've never needed to be creative before. And to me, that's pretty exciting. So remember, first is your mindset. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you're right. You can't.
You're right.
So
you're right.
You can.
So if you weren't on television, if you weren't doing radio, if you weren't a real estate agent, what would Jennifer Hammond be doing right now?
I would be finding a way to probably do something in the arts. Like the other thing that I absolutely love is the arts. I love all things to do with art. I mean, everything from when I was young, one of the things I loved was being a dancer. I love being a part of my brother's music, and I love all of that stuff. I love playing piano. I've started writing songs with my brother now. I love doing things that are artistic. And, again, sometimes with my brother and I, we just get a real giggle out of the stuff. But we've had a lot of fun just creating. So I would be doing something that was creating, because again, that brings a smile to people's face. And to me, that's the core of why I'm here, is to help people and to bring smiles. And now to, as I say, bring a yay in every day.
I love that. Every time you do that, I just giggle. You cannot help but to giggle when you say something like that. For someone that is, watching this, a young lady's watching and she's terrified of even doing radio. I remember my first interview, I had to be drug in from the hallway to do a radio interview, and I sat there nodding my head. And Lillian McMorris said, honey, it's radio. They can't see you. You got to talk. That's how I got started. I want to know, for somebody that's sitting out there, they're going, I want to do this. I want to be a part of this. I got a radio show idea. I've got a television show idea, but I am terrified of being in front of the camera or the mic. What would you tell them?
Well, for me, I want everybody to know, I also was the same way. I got dragged into a Sirius XM radio show, and I feel so honored because he dragged me in and he knew exactly my button. He said, but people need to know this information, Jennifer. You shouldn't keep it to yourself. You want to help people, right? And I was like, well, yeah, of course I do. And so I came into the radio station, and similar to you, I put my hands underneath the desk so that nobody could see. They were literally shaking because I was like, how many millions of people are listening to this? What is going on? And I realized, number one, always go back to your core, your purpose. Why do you want a podcast? Why do you want a radio show? Why are you doing this? Make sure you tie into whatever your purpose is for doing it. How are you helping? How are you making the world a better place? Number two, make sure you have that spirit of play, whatever that means for you. For me, it's the yay in every day. And number three, go ahead and practice in front of a mirror or record them on your computer when you feel safe and you can really be yourself. So being yourself is what people are going to love. Don't sell out and try to be someone you're not. That's when you're going to really get nervous and you're really not going to serve other people. So be yourself and be happy.
I can't think of a better way to end this short interview. You and I, you've been on the show before. You're coming back again. We've got projects we're doing together. You're part of the family. So I can't think of a better way to end right now and let you go run, because I know you. You got 12 things on your list for today. I thank you so much for hanging out. I thank you so much for sharing there it is. And I will talk to you really, really soon. Thanks for coming and hanging out, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all that you do for all of us. And thank you for celebrating women. Yay!
Right on. I'll talk to you soon. All right. So Jennifer Hammond, thousand volts of energy. You cannot, she's better than any Starbucks. You know, as soon as she comes on, your energy level goes up. And then we talk about radio, we talk about television, but now we're going to talk about film. Now, if you've been watching my show, if you've been paying attention to me ranting on social media, you've heard me talk about this lady no less than 100 times. Coming up next to the show is a woman named Anna Maria Davis, and she introduced me to Hollywood because, believe it or not, when I met her, she told me I was a publisher and I was a producer. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm a tech geek. I just make a magazine. And she said, let me show you the way. So coming up right now, writer, producer, director, and really good friend, Anna Maria Davis. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Teresa. Oh,
Hi, how
nice
are
to
you?
be here. Happy Women's Day. Happy
Yeah,
Women's
happy
Day.
International
Really
Women's
cool.
Day. And you used to live down the street. Now you're a little bit
I
further
know.
away. Where are you in the world?
I'm actually in Puerto Vallarta right now. I'm pretty far away. I'm at 3 hours by flight, so it's not too bad. If you're coming from LA, it's not that bad, but it's a drive. It's a drive. Yeah. You know, I'm Mexican, American, so it's kind of like being home here for me.
And this isn't something that you just did for COVID. You've been, living in both countries for a while now, and you just chose to kind of wait out COVID in one of the prettiest places on the planet. I mean, come on.
No,
You poor
really.
thing, you got to wait out over there,
No, that's what I decided. I thought, well, until I get the vaccine and I know that I'm not going to get anyone sick, I'll just stay here. My kids said, no, stay there, Mom, stay. So I'm still here. I've not been home for over a year. It's the first time in my life I've been away this long. Yeah, that's hard, but it's worth it. It's worth not going home until we know.
Let's talk about your journey, because you are, I start the sentence with my friend Anna Maria Davis. She did Fools Rush In with Matthew Perry and Selma Hayek. This is how I start the conversation. Let's talk about how because Hollywood is your family business. How did you get involved in Hollywood? How did you become a producer, a director, a writer? Where did all that come from?
I believe in frequency. And as a child, at age 3, I was born in Las Vegas. My family's been in Boulder City since 1941. And I danced with Margaret Ketchum. If you're from Vegas, and an old timer, you'll remember Margaret Ketchum. She was from Los Angeles, and she would come out to Nevada weekly. And she basically mentored me in dance. And I got to do ballet folklorico, ballet, tap, jazz, Hawaiian, because she studied with the kahunas. And then Mary Rennie from the Chicago Philharmonic moved to Boulder City, and she was my piano teacher. So we were just so blessed in Nevada to have these incredible artists that, were teaching us because it was their passion, even though many of them at some point, Mary was retired. Then I went on, and my father had me do a lot of international business for him. And I realized I liked the idea of merchandising. And everyone thought, oh, you're going to go into modeling. I modeled as a kid in the 70s in Mexico City. And I just didn't like the objectifying feeling of modeling. So I went back to university at UNR. And then I graduated from the Fashion Institute in Merchandising Management in 1984. And I was this powerful, I've worked for my father since I was a child. I'd come back and forth from Mexico City. I lived with the niece of the Lopez Portillo family and the Asensio family. I was mentored by grandparents and Salvador Asensio in international business. And I'm thinking with my roommate in LA, okay, we're graduated. I'm going to open a knockoff shoe. Zappos wasn't around back then. This was 84. And I thought, I want to do knockoffs. And, and I always had been in front of the camera, but I didn't like the way that women were treated back then. This was a long time ago, and especially 80s was a tough time for women. So I was planning to move, and some friend of mine in the industry was a producer, and he said, you need to be dating. I said, no, I don't. I just broken up with somebody. I'm really independent. I don't want to date. And he said, and I'd never been on a blind date at all. And he said, why don't you come on this blind date for me, please? And I'm like, oh God, tell him he needs to call me now or I'm not going. So it took about 2 weeks and we got a date finally. And he was 9 years older than I was. And he goes, he's an up and coming young producer in Hollywood. And you're going to really like him. And I'm like, I'm not interested in getting serious. I'll go because he's a friend of yours. And I don't do blind dates, but I'll do. And I was dating a guy named Terrence Knox a little bit. We were friends and he was an actor on St. Elsewhere. And he goes, on producers are terrible. You don't want to hang out with, he's going to show up in a Mercedes or something. And I'm like, oh God, it's already, I'd already moved away. I tried to stay away from a lot of Hollywood, even though because I'm a dancer and I play classical piano, and merchandising is exactly like Hollywood. It's set up the same way. In the old garment industry, people were actually the founders of Hollywood. So I go on this date, and he shows up in this beat up old, I didn't know he had a Mercedes at home, but he showed up in this beat up old car with dog hair all over it. And I thought, oh my God, he has to be okay. And my friend Terry's actually standing behind the door, making sure that this guy is okay. So we go on this date, and I went away to a big wedding. My friend Wendy was getting married in San Francisco at Stanford, and I was maid of honor. And I went, oh, wow, I'm not getting married for a while. This is way too much for me. I came home from the wedding, and I was intimate with this young producer. And I went the next day to Planned Parenthood as a woman today. It was something that I really was proud to be able to say, I'm going to go to Planned Parenthood. I just started my new job at the California Mart. And lo and behold, I found out very early on that I was pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was a producer, and I'm this young, out of college, independent woman. And something inside of me, because of things that had happened in my life, told me this was meant to be. And I could feel this child inside of me. And I thought, I'm an independent woman. My mother had been a single mom when I was very young. And I thought, I can do this. I can do this. And I said to him, I called him, I got to tell you something. Can I see you? I mean, we don't really know each other. And although he'd been calling me every day for about 2 months at that point, every single day he'd call me. He was an agent or a manager at the time. And so I decided, okay, I need to tell you this. And he goes, what? And I said, well, I'm pregnant. And it was in that moment he looked at me, and we didn't know each other. He says, well, what can I do for you? And I said, well, do me a big favor, because I have all these brothers and family that's really intense. I'm not going to tell them I'm pregnant. I did tell my oldest brother and my sister-in-law, but no one else knew. I said, I want you to come home and meet them so that when you're not in my life, they'll at least know I didn't have intimacy with some stranger. At least, so we did that. And we never had spent that much time together. So we spent 5 hours in the car driving there and got talked the whole way. And then there's this good Jewish boy from New York. We show up at my mother's house, and she's got a big Mexican Blessed Mother on the front lawn, and she has the cross in the house and Doug's eyes. He does comedy. We're this big. And on the way in, and then my brothers and I took him shooting, and we did all kinds of. He said to me later, "I thought you guys were going to shoot me," and I said, "No, I didn't tell them I was pregnant." And my daughter.
Now, as people listen to this story, they're listening and they're going, "This sounds like Fools Rush In."
Yeah, to some extent. We changed a lot of it because it's I need to tell people that, because people go, well, that's not true. I go, because it's a film and we loosely based it on it. And because my parents had gone through a similar situation in Nevada. My mother was one of the first Latinos to move to Boulder City in 1941. I grew up with that feeling of always, feeling a little off. I had tortillas at home. Most people had bread. But I looked, I could fit right into whatever mold this community had. But it was so it's loosely based. I did not have my son Ryan. He's a boy, obviously. He's 36 and a TV agent at William Morris Endeavor, and a partner now. Actually, I wanted to have a baby on the dam because I thought, well, it was a metaphor. My dad had worked for Hoover Dam for 30 years. So I knew the dam like the back of my head. I used to ditch school and hang out with him. So I said, let's create a line. When I actually ghost wrote the Greenlit draft with Catherine Reback after many years of 7 years. I was blessed because I had 7 years of development when the story was bought by Sony, by Teddy Z, basically, because we'd had our third baby. And he was like, oh my God, well, we need more money because it's like real estate. You have to save your money. And I go, so he's out pitching ideas. And I've been doing Mexican tortillas for years in the classroom because so many Hollywood at the time didn't have a lot of culture because high concept films had just started with distribution, became more a higher ROI for foreign. And so the films became very shallow, I guess you could say. So they would make every Latina look exactly alike, and it was like my ex-husband used to say, honey, it drives you crazy. I said, I know, because do I look like that? And they said, no. I said, we have everything. So my ex-husband went to pitch 8 ideas, and Teddy Z said, I don't like it. I want to do yours on a story, because I had people that are now big in the business over to my house for tamales, and I would bring my mom in for show and tell at All Saints in Beverly Hills, and she goes, oh, she'll never do it. She hates what you guys are doing in Hollywood. And so she called me, and I said, I'll only do it if you let me be participatory the whole way. I want to learn the industry. I want to make sure that the storyline. So I was very blessed. I had 7 years. Every 2 years, a studio back then would pretty much change heads of the studio. And so you have to repitch. And it takes about 2 years to get a script ready for a read. And then you do line for line and scene for scene. So I was very blessed. I went through, many regimes, 3 regimes, and 2 different writers, going line for line, scene for scene with different people, so that you really learn. I remember they partnered with me with Julie Crane, who grew up with Nancy Myers and Charles Shires. She was mentored by them. And we would take a script and sit in different parts of the room, and we would write the same note on the same page because we'd been mentored at the same time in the same way. So my strength was really developed. That was and it was easy because I grew up dancing. So when it came to shoot the movie, I wouldn't leave set because I was so worried they were going to make all Latinos look terrible. Because I've danced my whole life. Directing wasn't that challenge. I got directing, and Andy was really wonderful. Andy Tennant, he let me sit there, and I sat next to Peter Devlin, who went on to be nominated for Academy Awards, who taught me sound, the importance of sound. I have my little sound on here. I'm doing okay. But I was really blessed, Teresa. I think this industry, you have to have mentors. And if you're really lucky, if you're a woman, you'll have a female mentor, just because, not that I had men mentors, but there's something about having another woman who understands certain things that, not that men don't understand them, but they can't empathize the same way. Sympathy is one thing, but empathy is far more important, I think. Yeah.
See, this is why I tell you every time we talk, we need to do a show together, because your interview time is almost over. I got to bring you back on because we didn't even touch the tip of your career. We just kind of told the foundational story today. And you're right. Female mentor is awesome in Hollywood, and I am so happy you were mine and still are.
Well, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. And I remember you taking me to Hollywood and literally like, a puppy, sit, stay, don't touch anything. I can't tell you, it's a combination of a lot of people, but me sitting here doing this is definitely attributed to you and Lillian McMorris and George Carson and Amy Jo Greer, but you took me on that first journey. And I mean, you even took me to Hollywood on a road I didn't even know how to get on from Vegas to LA. I want to thank you, my friend, for coming and hanging out with me today, sharing a little bit of your story. Just so you guys know, they really did shut down Hoover Dam for the scene. they're the only film to do that. And if you, when the tour is open again, there's a billboard in the tour to say, we shut down Hoover Dam for this.
We did. I was
I
lucky.
thank you. I love you.
Aw.
You are the best.
Love you too,
And,
Teresa.
you know, I will be calling you Monday or Tuesday, or today's Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, because I know we've got tons of stuff we need to cover, but I wanted to thank you for being here. All righty. So coming up next.
Okay, bye.
Coming up next. There you go. So
I
thank
know
you so
something.
much.
Okay,
It
ciao.
broke you up. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have fun.
Thanks. Okay, so coming up next. Now, I've watched detective shows my whole life. My aunt was a Perry Mason fan. My cousin probably still has Columbo DVDs and underneath her bed. Now, for you guys that don't know about DVDs, don't talk to me, but I know all about them. We know about being a private investigator, about the police and all of that kind of stuff. We never think about, at least I don't, think about a female private investigator. I have this vision in my head of Columbo, you know, with the cigar hanging out and hiding in a bush somewhere. That's not the case. These is a real business. They take care of and they help a lot of people. And coming up next, we've got Robin Allen, and she's going to break it down for us because why? This is what she does. Hey, Robin, welcome to the show.
Hello, Teresa. I have had the pleasure of watching a few of your guests, and that last guest, Anna Marie Davis, was just a ball of energy. And I hope to be able to match some of that.
Yeah, Anna Maria has been in this industry called television and film for most of her life. So she definitely knows how to, you know, take it to a whole new level. And that's why I wanted her on. And, you know, you being right behind her is absolutely perfect because she's a unique find in Hollywood. Right. You're a unique find in your industry as well. I mean, when I got told by Colleen, you know, and Colleen's coming up later, when I got told from Colleen, you got to talk to Robin. Oh my goodness, you got to talk to Robin. She's amazing. And I said, okay, what does she do? She said, she's a private investigator. I said, ha, funny. What does she really do? She said, no, she's a private investigator. And it's actually like second generation. And I went, right. Excuse me? You know, she says, yeah, her dad, you know, she ran this business with her father. So let's talk about how you got.
I didn't realize that you knew so much already about
I'm
me.
I'm my own private investigator. I have.
That's right. That's right. It sounds like it. So, you know, the interesting thing though, Teresa, is that I had my start. I got a start as I was going to UCLA. In the film and television industry as well. So I noticed that you've had
wait, what? Wait, what? I didn't know this.
I started out juggling early, right? My parents always told me that, you know, you're going to go to school, you're going to go to law school, you're going to become an attorney, and that's going to be your life. So my parents had it all planned out for me. And my dad, as at that time, you know, he was a law enforcement officer, but when he retired, he started this investigations company. So the investigations company started while I was leaving home to go to college at UCLA. And so, you know, I found myself in a place torn because, you know, I think a lot of little girls when they're growing up, you know, you see the celebrities, you see the magazines, you see the television shows, and there may be a little corner saved in people's hearts, saved in these little girls' hearts to think that they are going to, you know, become these stars, right? Right. So I actually, my mom was a supporter. You know, even though we valued education, we valued going to school, we valued, you know, all of these things. I did take a short diversion, actually a decade-long diversion into the modeling industry. So I was a professional model while learning private investigations with my dad. So I was in a fortunate position with being able to manage both, which was, it was really a crazy challenge. But as a woman, and especially with the strong women that paved the way before me, it gave me the gumption and the energy to be able to balance those two worlds. So I did finish UCLA. I graduated with a degree in psychology, but I also got to travel all over the world at the same time, Teresa, which gives me an even more interesting perspective and a worldly perspective as I do my investigations, and it just brings an interesting background to my work.
So wait, how do you go from model, college graduate, to private investigator, and literally make this work? I mean, you could have went in any direction. You didn't have to go here. You didn't get just hired, fill out a thing on one of the job boards and said, okay, I'll do this until I find something better. You love what you do, and you chose to do it. What made you choose it?
I really think I was born into it. My dad was also a Marine, and as you can tell, he's had a lot of influence over the direction that I chose to go. But it really is a business, because I started so young. It really is a business that I know, and I know well. And even when, I had some challenges in my life and chose a second career path, that career path was in law enforcement. So I'm also a former probation officer. So
we got Emily Baker coming up later, and we call Emily Baker the badass lawyer. I'm gonna start calling you the badass private investigator. What?
It gets better. It gets better. Yeah. So I became a probation officer, which added another layer to my experience. And I went from entry level in probation, because remember, this was a challenging time in my life. So I went from entry level in probation to working just under a bureau chief in 5 years.
Wow.
The gatekeeper for a bureau chief. And really in Los Angeles County probation, I think that's pretty unheard of. But I've had an interesting career. But again, I started out working with my dad, and Marines, they are strong. They're strong people, right? And either they're gonna be telling you what you're gonna do, or you're gonna just have to leave the situation. So I decided to join them rather than beat them, because a Marine is a tough person to beat. So I joined the team, and I worked very closely with my dad for years and years, until I finally took over the business. And so, we started out doing insurance investigations back in 1996. And that's how the business really took off. So I worked under my dad doing that, insurance investigations, criminal investigations, corporate investigations, white collar crime, fraud investigations. And, I know that people always think of investigations as the sleuthy shows, right, that we see. What are some of the names of these shows? Teresa, it's so funny. I never watched America's Next Top Model. I don't watch the PI shows. It's really, you think of these things, they're glamorized. They're glamorized beyond what they actually are.
They definitely are.
Yeah.
They definitely are. But let me ask you a couple of questions. I know people have questions. I'm trying to get them in there. Safety. Do you fear for your safety when you're doing private investigation? Part A. Part B of that, just like in law, there's, divorce attorneys, there's prosecutors, there's different categories of an attorney. Mm-hmm. Are there different categories of an investigator?
Yes. Yes, okay. There are. So there are civil investigations, criminal investigations, background investigations, white collar crime investigations, corporate investigations. There's all types of investigations. And because my father's experience was, in law enforcement, I got to do some of those criminal investigations. And, and even with public corruption investigations, yes, it is true. Sometimes you do fear for your safety. Yes.
Yes. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So how do you handle that? How do you handle being out there like that?
Well, see, that's the thing that I think people also glamorize. You can choose to do those types of investigations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it really is a choice. And those types of investigations usually are concerning surveillance issues. So when you're going out to follow someone, when you're going out to use some of the tools that we have to do certain things, yeah, you definitely can get yourself in a position where you feel unsafe. And just recently, and you see these beautiful kids on the back of the wall. They're a little bit older now, but I think that has also changed, one, my experience in the industry and the length of time that I've been in this business, right, has given me a certain not only credibility, but certain things I just don't take the same types of cases that I would have taken when I start. So that type of stuff I tend to outsource at this point. And I personally don't put myself in that position because I got little people to care about. But just recently,
really cute little people.
Thank you. Yeah. So just recently, I got a call to do a criminal investigation where I was going to have to go out and interview some people that live on the fringes of society and don't really obey and adhere to laws, right? And those types of investigations and interviews can be not only intimidating, but can jeopardize your safety depending on the people that you're interviewing and getting involved with. So you always have to do your due diligence before you take on these cases and really know what you're getting yourself into. And I think that is part of being a good investigator is being sure that you do your due diligence. So I'm investigating the person that's asking me for the investigation as well.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Now, before I let you get out of here, one, I've got to say, Daryl's watching and he says, awesome. So we got people out there watching. They love what you do. I want to ask you, I know people are wondering, they may want to go into this field. Do you need to have a college degree to go into this field? How do you get started? Do you have to have a license? Is it different state to state? That kind of a thing.
Yeah, well, you do have to have a license in the state of California. It is different nationally. But in the state of California, you do have to have a license, and I am regulated by the Bureau of Security and Investigative Services here. You cannot legally call yourself a private investigator if you are not licensed. So that's part of the ruling here. What was the other part of the question?
Do you have to have a college degree? I mean, can you start out of high school? What's required?
No, you don't have to have a college degree. But you do have to have experience in the business. So you would want to work with a person like me and, the same that I put in hours with my dad to really learn the business. And you do have to actually sit for an exam. So the undergrad degree that I have from UCLA and the master's degree that I have from Cal State Northridge, I didn't need them.
But you still got the loan bill anyway, right?
Right, that's right. But Teresa, I also, I have political aspirations and I have other aspirations. So, maybe
if I lived in California, you'd have my vote.
Well,
and when you get to the federal level, I'll be right there.
Yeah. And I want to end this interview with I saw on International Women's Day they have a website, right? So I want people to remember that a challenged world is an alert world, And from challenge comes change. So be an advocate for yourself and grab your seat at the table and reach out to, professionals like me and the other, 27 ladies that you have here today to, to gain knowledge and to, follow your passion. So I just want to thank you for your time.
I want to thank you for your time. And before I let you get out of here, Colleen will hurt me if I don't tell you that Colleen says she loves you. We all do. I think it's amazing what you're doing. And the fact that you are out there, literally putting in the work in an arena that most women may not think women are doing this. And women are everywhere. We've got women coaches in the NFL now, we're doing it all. So to say thank you is putting it mildly. I hope you'll come back. I want you to come and be on the show. We'll do a full interview. Robin, you are the best.
Oh, Teresa, and thank you so much. And it was really my pleasure, and I feel honored that you included me. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, energy with Jennifer Hammond. Then we went to more energy with Anna Maria Davis, one of my mentors in Hollywood. Now, we just finished with Robin, private investigator. And what's coming up next? The badass attorney's in the building, y'all. She's here. Now, you guys know I don't do any of these things unless the badass attorney can fit me in her schedule. And when I say she is blowing up and trailblazing like you will not believe, yeah, let's talk to our friend, our buddy, our pal, Emily Baker. What's happening?
What's happening? You are so kind. It's so good to see you, friend. I am so happy to be here. I love that you're doing this today for International Women's Day. I always love when we get to chat. It's blowing up. It's been busy. It's been great. Blessed and busy.
Yeah, she says it's been busy. It's been great. This lady, I'm gonna tell it. Now you can. I got the buttons over here. You can't mute me. I can mute you. So I'm gonna tell it.
I know.
Okay. This woman, before Halloween, I had her on the show, and she said, I might order a new camera and then go video. I haven't really decided with my podcast, but I know it's coming. So I might as well go ahead and I sat here and said, you better go buy a camera. I'm telling you now, get on. You got the personality. Well, before Halloween, she had, what is it, 4,000, around 4,000?
We were about 4,500 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, about 4,500. I checked last night. I'm sure it's higher this morning. Last night, there was almost 88,000 people following the badass attorney, Emily Baker.
This morning, we're at 89. We're at 89,000.
They're at 89. What's going on with you? You are changing the face of how this thing called YouTube is being done. What are you doing it? What are you doing? How are you doing? Why are you doing? Come on, talk to me.
I have loved YouTube for years. I've been on YouTube for 5 years. It is not an overnight YouTube thing for any means. But once I dialed it into my niche, into what I was passionate about talking about, it started to gain traction. I also talk about things that are timely, which helps, but I do legal commentary. So it's taking the kind of lawyerly legal out of it, infusing me into it, and making it easy for everyone to understand. Law nerds, it's so good to see you guys. So it's just really taking all of the energy I have to help people understand and bringing it on YouTube. We have created such an amazing community of people willing to have challenging conversations, willing to have vulnerable conversations, and willing to have conversations with open minds about difficult topics. So I love what I'm doing. And when people say long form content is dead, no one has an attention span anymore, give it to people in 3 seconds, I say bullshit. People want intelligent and nuanced conversations. Audiences are not just sitting there mindlessly scrolling. They're looking for something. And what they're looking for is conversation, connection, and facts, not a whole bunch of emotional marketing and nonsense. So we bring the facts. I'm authentic with how I see things and who I am, and that's what we're doing. Tia, where'd you go, girl? I was like, don't leave me.
You do bring the fact. I didn't leave you.
I'll
I'm sitting
talk
here
forever.
watching your fan base go nuts. And I love listening to you talk. So you could talk forever. That's okay. But you have a phrase that you use because you do bring the facts. What's
Not
the phrase?
agree.
There it is.
Yep.
There it is. I'm not a law nerd, you know.
You are a law nerd.
Well, I'm a law nerd, but I am
about this book
definitely
together.
not. Before I met you, I mean, law was something you watched on Law and Order. I knew nothing. And then I met you, and then I started following you, and I have watched you do 2-hour episodes live.
Yeah.
You know, you guys dig in, and your fan base, you know, they are super supportive of everything that you do, and they've got your back. And I love watching how you interact with everyone, and you call it like it is. Now, for the 5 people out there that may not have heard of Emily Baker and the Law Nerds, could you tell them exactly what goes on? Because you're live every week. Sometimes you're live multiple times a week.
I am. I'm live twice a week.
Okay.
If I streamed less than 2 hours, I think people would be concerned about me and my well-being. YouTube is rolling out this new feature called YouTube Shorts, and I've posted 1 or 2 of them. The comments are, Emily, blink twice if you're being held against your will. Emily, are you okay? Emily, is it you? A 1-minute video. Who are you, girl? And I'm like, we do long form content. Law nerds are anyone who wants to understand the rules that are governing the lives that we lead. And we talk about that in the context of lawsuits, in the context of legal controversy. We did maybe do, Rachel, you're exactly right. We did do a 3.5-hour live stream. I did do that. I did. And we talk about all of the nuance around it. And we talk about it in context of characters that we all know. YouTubers suing YouTubers. Tom Girardi and his wife, Erica Jane, who's a real housewife. The Kardashian divorce. We talk about it in pop culture context to learn the concepts of law, to understand the difference between an assault and a sexual assault, to understand the difference between a divorce where the parties are agreeing and mess. And I feel that if we're going to live our lives by these laws and we don't have a playbook, then we need to break it down and we need to talk about what the rules are, because nobody says, here are the rules. Here are the laws. Here's what they mean. Here's what defamation actually is. You see a lot of people saying that's slander. Is it? Is it really? Let's talk about it. So what I do is pop culture legal commentary on YouTube and social media. Yes, I cover news topics too, because I am a former prosecutor. So when there are news topics around prosecutions and criminal law, I talk about those too, because I have experience there. But I break it down with cursey words, facts, fun, and I'm not going to judge people when they say, I don't understand what that means. I'm like, oh, good. Let's get into what that means deeper. And a lot of lawyers do not do that well, because stepping it back, all the knowledge you have, 15 years of knowledge in law school, stepping that knowledge back into, we call them legal muggles, into muggle speak, can be challenging. And I love it the most. I love my community. I love my community. And that's the best.
You know, I'm a techie. This is where I come from. This is my thing, as they like to say. And, you know, I'm a big believer. I do a half-hour show and people tell me, what are you, crazy? Well, I'm putting it on regular television too. So that's my excuse. But I mean, as I'm sitting here, you know, we feel robbed if it's not at least 2 hours. I mean, your fan base is like, they camp out. I saw one it's been a few months now. They sent you all this popcorn, you know, and you're sitting there with all the popcorn. I mean, they're sending you a gavel so you can be a judge in your own office. It's like, you guys, I love being a part of this community. I don't talk much. I sit in the back with my What's you gonna
popcorn.
talk about today?
Popcorn's from Popcorn World, which is LB's business, and a great Black-owned business that I am happy. LB is also a tech YouTuber and runs this amazing popcorn shop, so I love it. But we absolutely have good conversations, and I really think the art of nuanced conversations has been lost to a lot of name calling and screaming into the void. And that doesn't help any of us move forward in understanding or bettering our communities, our society, and our virtual spaces. And I want our virtual spaces to be compassionate, conversational spaces when people share their experiences, instead of going, that's not true. How about you listen to them and say, oh, I've never had that experience. Tell me more about your experience. And so we really bring that, and the law nerds are here for it. And people worry about live streaming. They worry about getting trolled. Look, I'm in my 40s. I am not cool. I am not a model. I'm not even a plus size model. We are fluffy over here. We've got gray hair and no Botox, no shade. It's cool. It's just, I move my face too much. And people are here for it. And I love it the most. So it's
I gotta tell you,
a pleasure.
I gotta tell you, you know, I learn a lot from you. The first time we sat down to talk feels like years ago now.
It does.
And I mean, we had every tech problem there was, and you were like, nope, I got time. We'll figure it out. And we did. And, you know, we've been hanging out ever since. I feel like you're my best friend that I lost 20 years ago and came back, and now we got to catch up on everything.
We have so much, and which is why when you're like 15-minute, we're doing these 15-minute things for Women's Day, I was like, girl, we only got 15 minutes. I mean, we love to chat. Also, I'm loving the new background. I love the art.
Thank you.
I love it. And I love what
you
you do here on Expert Talk. I love how you bring women together, and you've had amazing people on here today. I'm honored to get to be a part of it. And
yeah, and they just keep coming. I mean, they just keep coming, you know. I love it. And, you know, this is teasing into, you know, this is our warm up for what's coming in May, and what's coming in May with International Women's Day. And I mean, with Network Now for Life, let's get this right. Yep. With Now for Life coming May 10th through the 12th. And that's what this is all about. We want to, you know, start now with International Women's Day, and then just build this momentum, because Now for Life is a network of outstanding women, and we're going to honor 6 women. We're not telling who yet, because a few of them are coming onto the show today, but we're going to honor 6 women. And y'all already know that look on her face just told you she's one of them. She knows it. She knows it's coming. I know it's coming.
I was smiling because I want to know who the other women are that are being honored.
I know, and they want to know who you are.
There aren't enough network spaces for powerful women, and for women to not be afraid of being powerful, and to say, yes, I am a badass. I am also sometimes sensitive. I am also sometimes angry. I am also sometimes loud and passionate. And we're all these things, instead of having to network in this like safe space of like not pushing it, not being too much, not, you know, riling the menfolk, if you will. So I feel like there needs to be, not that there's anything wrong with those spaces. I feel like there needs to be women's spaces, because the conversations women have when they are in safe space are world changing and powerful. And that's what I love so much.
Yeah. And we're going to have so much fun. And you and I have had a project in the works that we're working on between your schedule and all the law nerds. You guys,
my schedule was so great. And then everything blew up, and it's a blessing. And now it's just trying to juggle all of it, and I'm overwhelmed.
But it's coming.
It's so good.
It's coming. We're about to do this. It's coming. So for somebody out there, because I know 15 minutes is not enough. Law nerds, don't hate me. I only had so much time. I got to do
law nerds. She said 15 minutes, and I said, Tigo, I love you. I'm coming. I love you, and I support you, and I love that you're doing this, because Tigo's doing this all day with all kinds of women from all different backgrounds and all different experiences.
All over the world. We have somebody from Indonesia getting up at 6 a.m. to come on here. So this is going to be nuts. For somebody that's watching right now and they're going, I want to do long content. I want to do what you do on YouTube. How would you tell them to get started before I let you go today?
DM me.
There it is. There it is.
I'm only half teasing. No, DM me. Just get started. Just get started. Know who you are. Know what you're talking about. Find your audience and listen to them. Your audience, you should build a community that you want to be a part of. I premiere videos on YouTube just so I can be in the chat, because I want to hang out with my people because I love them and I love chatting with them. I love answering DMs. I love seeing their comments on social media. I want to be a part of it too. I mean, I'm not going to go as far as Kanye West, who says things like, my greatest regret in life is that I'll never be able to see myself perform. But for me, I love being a part of my community. And so I make sure I do things where I can still be a member of my community, even though I'm the one on screen doing the long form content. The only way long form works is if you're connected with your community.
And yes, 15 minutes is not enough time because I've gotta let my buddy go. I gotta let her go get started with the rest of her day.
It's good to see you. Happy Monday. Happy International Women's Day. Tigo, I love connecting with you. I can't wait to talk again. We need a call. We've been texting, but we need a call soon.
Yeah,
and
we need. I haven't heard your voice. This is the first time I heard your voice this year, other than of course on your channel, but just direct. This is the first time. I want to thank you, my friend. I love you. Thanks for all that you're doing out there. You're changing the world, you know, one stream at a time. And I appreciate you. I truly do.
You are amplifying so many voices, and that is such a special and powerful thing. Keep doing it. I appreciate you.
Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, so if you're with me and you've been there, you've been watching this show go up, down, around, and over. And you're wondering, okay, Tigo, who do you have coming next? You guys are not going to believe who I've got coming up next. This lady, you know, you've seen her in music videos. Her band holds a record that we're going to talk about when she comes on. I'm a super fan. I watched her on another show that I produce. And the first thing I did was call the host and say, how do I get her for International Women's Day? Help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. You know, coming up right now, Cheryl Cooley is coming up right now. Hey, Cheryl, what's happening?
I'm having a great day. Oh,
I got to tell you, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us.
Oh, sure.
You know? Now, people, if you haven't figured this out, this is Cheryl Cooley from Climax. It's on her name. You know, I've got all their music. You know, a meeting in the ladies' room. It has a whole new meeting today with International Women's Day. Trust me. I was trying to get it licensed so I could play it because it's a perfect fit, you know, for right now. You guys have no idea how excited I am. I got goosebumps. I kid you not. I got goosebumps. She is here. She is here. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I mean, you know, I'm surviving all of the changes in life.
Yeah. Hot one second, cold the next, then COVID, then hit. Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
So how did you get into music? What made you decide to take that journey in the first place?
Well, you know, I look at it kind of in a metaphysical, spiritual way because no one in my family played music. And for some reason, my parents always got me a toy guitar every other Christmas. And my sister, who is like 16 years older than I am, was married to a jazz musician by the name of Hubert Laws. And one of these times he was on tour at my parents' house, and I had this toy guitar, and I was all excited because it accidentally tuned itself to a TV show. And so I ran in the room and I said, look what I can play. I can play this song on TV, Secret Agent Man, for those who know what that show is.
Yeah, I know what that is.
And as soon as my sister heard it, she said, let's get Cheryl some guitar lessons. And my journey started from there. I was 11 years old when I started playing guitar and taking guitar lessons. And it's been my life purpose, my life's drive, my life's energy throughout my life. You know, there's been some ups and downs. There's been some pauses. There's been some, fast forward. But it's definitely been a musical journey for the life of Cheryl Cooley.
Now, you are a member of Climax, original member of Climax. You guys have been killing it forever. But I understand, little birdie told me that you hold a record of being the only female band to be, what is it?
Okay, so Climax is the only R&B all-female band that has charted on billboards. Now that's R&B. There are a couple of rock bands, but there's also a female band. But as far as R&B charts, funk charts, Climax still is the only R&B all female band that has charted on Billboard.
What makes you stick with it? Because you guys started a few minutes ago. We're not going to go back there and date it. Y'all want to know? Go look. Okay. But you've been doing this and you're sticking with it. I mean, you guys are still performing. COVID, but you're performing, you're out there. When COVID's over, you'll be out again. I'm coming. I'm going to be there. I'm bringing the camera. But what keeps you focused? Because people jump into music, they jump into the arts, and the minute they get discouraged, the minute they're told to go get a regular job, like I always wanted to do comedy, and my dad told me, you better stand your ass up and get a job because you're not doing stand-up. Yeah, literally, that's what he told me. But now I'm planning on doing stand-up. That's another story. What got you focused and kept you moving forward?
I always joke about myself when I say, I was really too stupid to know I was supposed to stop. I mean, there's been a lot of roadblocks. There have. I mean, but it's like, oh, that's supposed to discourage me? Oops. I mean, I had music college professors that, because my passion is music theory, really. I love music theory. And, I turned in some assignments and, one time this teacher, he played we had to write big band charts, harmony and stuff. And anytime a student did something right, he would say the student's name. Oh, so-and-so did perfect here. If you didn't do it right, then he wouldn't say the name, right? So he plays my part. He didn't read my name. He played he said, oh, this is excellent. This was written by, okay, we'll go to the next. We'll go to the next one. I didn't, once I heard my music, it was like, oh, okay. But, him not saying my name was like, oh, was that supposed to be an insult? Baby, you couldn't read my name. I mean, I don't know. Hey, I heard my music. I'm on and cracking.
What did you do the first time you heard your music on the radio?
Almost ran into the center divider on the street.
Oh, you were driving?
Yeah. Oh my God. It was such a great feeling. It was a dream come true. Let me just say the whole journey of Climax being in an all-female band was really a dream come true. And hearing the song, our first song on the radio was called Never Underestimate the Power of a Woman. And I wrote the music to that. And, I don't know if anybody in California, in the Los Angeles area knows La Cienega Boulevard going south toward the 405 freeway.
I know that area.
Yeah, I'm in Ladera Heights right there by the shopping center. And all of a sudden I, hear Never Underestimate. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my song. Me and the center divider almost had a meeting right there. So yeah, it was really exciting. A dream come true, definitely.
Now, as someone is looking right now, because I'm hoping that we've got people, young women, men, but definitely young ladies that are watching, and they have amazing talent. They're going, I can sing, I can play, I can write, I can do whatever. But music industry has changed. It's independent now. You don't get what you used to get. What would you tell them to get started? How do they get started? This is the career they aspire to connect with.
Yeah, the music business, the entertainment business is constantly in flux. It's constantly changing. The first thing I always tell any young musician or even older musician that's, trying to get back out there, you've got to know your craft. You got to know your talent. You got to know your instrument. If you're a vocalist, you have to know what your voice qualities are. First of all, make your talent to where it's solid, where nobody can knock you off your game, so that, even if you get up there and sing a diatonic scale, somebody can't say, oh, I've never heard of that. But in your mind, you've practiced that right, and they can't knock you off your game. Learn. Go. The internet is your friend. Take lessons online. Go to your nearest, community free music if they have it, anything like that. Go to jam sessions, learn from other musicians. Even if your craft or I should say your passion or your art is painting rocks, just keep painting the rocks until somebody says, "Hey, I want to buy that rock for $50 million."
No, she didn't say painting rocks. Okay. Now let me ask you. When you're a professional athlete, it is an absolute taken that person's going to spend a lot of time practicing. They're going to spend a lot of time worried about their body, a lot of time working out. How important is practice and rehearsal when you're trying to be a professional musician?
Oh, I mean, practice is very important. When I was younger and in school, I used to do 5, 6, 7 hours of practice a day. As I got older, I didn't have that kind of time to dedicate to it. And as far as rehearsal, I mean, Climax, we rehearse once a week, whether we have a show or not. I mean, COVID has kind of put a pause on that, but we rehearse once a week, whether we have a show or not, try out some new things. We have a lot of fun. I'm actually in our rehearsal room that I built, and we have a bar and a disco light and a studio and a cereal. So we have a lot of fun. We practice the music and we have a lot of fun with each other. So it's a constant to always stay rehearsed, because really, our staying rehearsed, when we go to those shows and have to do like sound check and stuff, we're ready. We already have our sound fine tuned. So they don't have a lot of work to try to do, sound check and tweeting the EQs and all of that, because we stay rehearsed. There's some bands, and I won't mention any names, they get to the sound check and that's their rehearsal. And you can tell that they don't rehearse. But luckily, we all live near each other enough to where we stay rehearsed. Anytime we get a call, we are ready.
Well, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in here right now. When COVID is over, I hope to come there and interview all of you in your environment. I will have goosebumps the very first 10 or 15 minutes. I'll get over it, and then we can just go for it. Because I'm truly a super fan. I'm not kidding. I was listening to your music all day yesterday, getting ready for today. And I'm like, there's that, ooh, and I saw live performance. I have become the YouTube queen when it comes to Climax, let me tell you. How do you balance family, the road? I mean, you hear all these, road stories from guy bands and things like that, safety, security. How did you balance all of that for as long as you guys have been together?
Well, in my situation, I guess I'm a little bit of an oddball. I don't have any kids. I don't have any husband. I have my own property. So, I can just jump on a plane and go when I want.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That's great. That's awesome.
But you do have to learn a certain balance. You have to know what your family needs, their needs, time wise, energy wise, financial wise, what they need. And of course, that's always going to be your priority. But you also have to nurture yourself, because if you don't nurture yourself, you're not going to be able to nurture your family or your art. You have to take care of yourself first. It may sound, egotistical, but it's a reality. You have to take care of yourself first. You have to take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You have to take care of yourself first. Whatever that is, whatever your health needs are, whatever your psychological, spiritual needs are, you have to take care of that first. And then you can go on to take care of your family. If the family's not an issue, then you can go ahead and take care of your art, your craft, your talent, your career. But you got to take care of yourself first.
I'm not going to call you one of the greatest female guitar players. I'm going to call you one of the greatest guitar players. I never hear people say, well, that's one of the greatest male horn players. They just say that's a horn player. Why do they have to point out the fact that she's female? She can go toe to toe with any of y'all. Okay, come on. Let's do a battle. Let's see who wins. I want to thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me, sharing a little time with us on International Women's Day. You definitely are an amazing representation of what can be done and what should be done, and to not let your dreams just sit on the sidelines. You're doing your thing, and I want to thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Thank you for involving me. I mean, if you hadn't contacted me, I would have never known. And I really appreciate you, making me a part of this and waving to your fans and friends. Thank you.
I hope you'll come back again. I mean, come on to the show and do a full half-hour episode with me, and then we can really, really talk, because I'm gonna find a reason to have you come back again and come back again and possibly come back again.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I thank you so much. Have a great day. And right now we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Katie's here. And Katie just started a new project. So sit right there. We'll be right back.
Hey, I have a quick question for you. Do you want a professional agency to handle all your video creation, syndication, and monetization needs? We totally understand that new leads and customers are the lifeblood for any business. And if you're looking to grow or scale your business, using video is definitely the best way to go. Here at Melrose 11, we specialize in getting you the results you need to help you grow your business by generating new leads, driving more traffic, and closing more sales without breaking your bank. Did you know, according to HubSpot, having a well-targeted video on your landing page can increase conversions by up to 80%? Yeah, and up to 64% of users are more likely to buy a product online after watching video than by text alone. And that 92% of mobile users share videos with others. And 90% of users say that videos are helpful in their purchase decision making. Incorporating video into your marketing and social media activity is no longer an option, it's an absolute requirement if you're looking for long-term success. Heck, it may even be essential for the very survival of a business. Here at Melrose 11, media truly is our passion. We create animated explainer videos, social teasers, catchy intros, full HD commercials, and even viewer interactive videos. So, if you're looking to elevate your brand, or attract more leads, generate more sales, increase traffic, or build up more exposure for your business, then you've definitely come to the right place. Our professional team will develop your video campaigns at an affordable price, with our fast turnaround times, and a quality of work that can't be beat. We look forward to working with you.
Hey, welcome back. You guys know where you are. You're on Expert Talk, and today is International Women's Day. So we figured, why not sit down with 27 women that are making it happen from all walks of life, from all over the world. They're hanging out with me today, and I feel so honored. And coming up next, I've got Katie coming up, and her husband have created a really cute and fun and new project that we're going to talk about. Hey, Katie, what's happening?
Hey, Tio, thank you for having me today.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. You know, we just recently met. We're just kind of getting to know each other. This is actually our first time chatting one-on-one. Well, in this case, one-on-many. I thank you so much for coming on with me today. How are you?
Doing great. It is a beautiful day here. I just got back in from a walk with my kids, and it's a really nice day.
Now, you just launched a new podcast, correct? Family Success Secrets. It's been, what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? It hasn't been that long, has it?
No, we launched it February 12th. And in that first launch week, we were able to hit number 20 on the parenting charts in the US. So we were really excited and thankful for all the support.
Now, tell me what Family Success Secrets is all about. I've listened. I love it. I'm a fan. I'm a subscriber. But what's it all about? What made you decide to create this particular show?
Well, we have traveled the world with the military, and we have met so many families. And as a special needs family ourselves, we have learned that there are certain things that can make your life much less stressful, much more enjoyable, and that they can lead to an abundant life despite your circumstances. So we figured that we would share a lot of the lessons we've learned and bring in experts and others who have learned very valuable golden nuggets to share with our audience as well. So every episode ends with a practical tool that families can try if it's something that resonates with them.
So let's go over a couple of topics. Tell me a couple of show topics that you have already covered.
Sure. Well, we have covered wealth creation for families. We have covered nutrition and making it simple and fun for moms, which is really something that most moms tell me is a challenge for them. We actually spoke to a precious friend who, she's a new friend of ours. She has dwarfism, and she covered the topics of getting a job if you are someone with a disability, and also to talk to parents about how to teach your children to interact with those in your community who have disabilities. So our show will range from having experts in fields like organization for your home, all the way to interviewing people who have experienced very inspirational and sometimes very challenging lives, but have learned and grown and have absolute beautiful things to share from it.
Now, you mentioned nutrition just now, and it's hard enough for one person, me, to even think about nutrition. But when you're talking about nutrition for an entire family, especially small children, there's so many things out there that look better. They got toys that come in the bag. We won't even talk about what it is. You know, how do you get that together and make it not only fun, but nutritious and delicious? How do you do that?
Well, for my family, we actually currently are juggling 3 separate diets, all medical based. And when we began this journey, we decided, first off, we would never go without. And secondly, we would make sure that it was food we enjoyed eating. So I was given the gift of having certain people in my life that I could ask questions to. And then I launched myself into years worth of research and training. And now through the people that we're interviewing and through some of the resources that Steve and I are going to be developing too to help families, we kind of have it all sort of in a kit. So moms who want to or need to do this can just do it and not need all that support and research that we had to experience.
That is cool. What's next for the show? Where are you guys going? Because you just got started. You're co-hosting with your husband.
Correct.
So what's going next? Where do you see it in 6 months, in a year? What's your hopes? What's your dreams?
Well, the show just has an opportunity for endless amount of gold nuggets from people. So I'm looking at trying to speak to maybe some single parents to talk about how do they juggle, because I know quite a few single parents who are dear to me who have said, you know, please find out how can we balance this better. You know, we're just going to continue reaching out more and more to different people with various experiences. We'll also begin launching a coaching program that's coming up in the near future, so that we'll be able to walk families who want to have stability early on in their lives through how to make sure that those frameworks are set in their home to either reduce stress or to prevent it, so that they can really live an abundant life with their family that they dreamed of.
So you mentioned earlier you have children. I'm getting feedback from you. Can you turn your speaker down just a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah, because it's giving feedback back. Just a little bit. Yeah, it should be good. Yep, okay. We're good. So you mentioned earlier that you have children, you have a family. How are you balancing between mom, especially when everybody's trapped at home for the most part, mom and all the mom duties, and also building a business in the middle of COVID? How are you doing that?
Well, some of it is a little bit of juggling and just, you know, rotating what has the priority at the moment. And some of it is a matter of scheduling with very simple systems, because I am very much a free spirit. So I have to keep things very simple. And the other part is that our children, we started training them while they were young, how to be very independent and how to be a very much a part of our team. So they actually also know which territories in our home they're responsible for. And so really, I don't have to do it all. The family does it together as a unit. And so it's wonderful. You
need an award for that, because I still haven't figured that out. And I've got 3 grandsons and we're still going, what is he doing now? He's not even 2 years old, the youngest one, and he's running the whole house. So I probably need to pay more attention to exactly what it is that you're doing over there. If you were not doing a podcast, what would you be doing right now?
Well, normally what we do and what we're still doing, we have a neurodevelopmental program that we do for our very severely disabled son. He was not well during the summer, which allowed us to back down on that program a little bit, gave us more hours to work on the podcast. So he was resting more than doing a lot of this program. But normally that program is about 90 hours a week. So as a team, we all put in a lot of effort. I also homeschool the children. They range from ages 6 to up to almost 17. We have 5 of them. So I keep very busy with that. And the podcast is really podcast is our after hours joy. We have had so much fun with it.
for the young moms that are, we're almost a year in, we're basically a year in. I saw an advertisement on Facebook, I think, that said this weekend past was the last normal weekend before COVID last year. And so we've been doing this for a year, but there are still moms and families, dads that are trying to balance between homeschooling and activities and television and junk food and all of that. How are you handling all of that?
Yeah, well, we had the blessing of not having it be as dramatic for us because we already were homeschooling before the lockdown. So for us, things like swimming lessons that, in our normal play dates and our normal tutorial, that was very hard for us. But we have managed to still have play dates through, with our son's needs for his immune system. We have had quarantine before we do that. As far as really prioritizing, I think for us, we stripped away the things that weren't necessary and really focused on what built joy into our days, what things were the most important. And for families who are struggling, I would suggest looking into the book, The 5 Love Languages, especially the one that's specific to children, because if you can learn how your child understands love, it might be different than how you understand love. And if you can fill up their love tank at home in a really effective, efficient way, then you'll find that a lot of those other problems disappear and they won't be feeling as needy and after you as much.
I love that. The love tank. I really love that concept. I've never heard it put that way before. I'm going to ask you something silly that you're going to go, really? That's the question you're going to ask?
Nothing
Do you read stories to your children at night?
It depends on which child wants us to. We have hit a point where actually our youngest would prefer to read with his brother, who is 11.
Oh, wow.
So, we go through phases. Sometimes we'll read novels aloud at the dinner table. Other times we'll do audiobooks as a group. And other times it's just not possible and it's just not one of the priorities. So it just depends kind of on the season that we're in. And so we always make sure we're hitting a highlight. It just may not be all the highlights all the time.
And if your children wanted to be entrepreneurs, if they wanted to host their own shows or create their own coaching programs, is that something you'll encourage, or is that something you're going to say, nope, not going there?
Our 16-year-old has built his funnel. He's finished one funnel away and he's recorded he is in the middle of finishing up and getting ready to record his course to teach young men self-confidence, because he's noticed that there is a lack of it. Our 11-year-old actually was the first entrepreneur in our family. He wanted to start a business when he was 6. He's had the name since then, and he has been in product development ever since. So actually our children were entrepreneurs before us.
I love this. I love talking with you. I think it's awesome. I love the fact that, people that are single, or like in our case, our kids are grown and the grandchildren don't live here and we can't seem to find enough time in the day. We're going, oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And then I get a chance, an opportunity to sit down with someone like you, Katie, and you tell me all the things that you do in a day that I get tired just listening to. I don't know how you're balancing your time. How do you schedule your day?
Each of our children actually has a chart that guides them through their day. And then we have a rough schedule for what we do each day, but we have to be very flexible, because with children, you never know who's going to wake up ill or, whatever things are going to happen. So I do use an electronic calendar that helps. We connect the whole family to it. For us, really, balance is more a matter of being flexible and kind of rolling with what's the most important. And we don't do all the things in one day. Really, it's an accumulation of a lot of little things over a lot of days.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming and hanging out. I want to thank you for being on the show. And I mean, just trusting me, because like I said, we haven't really talked to each other than right now, and a couple of direct messages and a couple of emails. And you said, sure, I'll come, I'll be there. And I said, this is awesome. This is awesome. I want to thank you for, just hanging out with me for a few minutes and sharing your story. I hope you and your husband will both come back and we can really talk about everything that you're doing in your coaching program and all things that are coming.
Thank you. It would be our pleasure. And thank you again for having me today. I really appreciate it.
You are the best. I'll talk to you soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so coming up after this break, we've got a young lady who trailblazer. She sets trails on air. You guys want to sit there because you definitely don't want to miss this. Oh my goodness, one of my mentors is out there somewhere. George Carson's out there. Happy International Women's Day to me. Thank you, George. But, you know, George, if it wasn't for you and Lillian and Amy and Anna Maria, this show wouldn't be happening. So thanks, George, for hanging out. You guys sit right there. We'll be back with Jen Duplessis right after this. Okay, like I said, coming up next, we got Jen Duplessis. Now, she's a host. You know, she's been doing this for maybe a couple of more seasons than I have. She's been setting records in her business and her career for years, and she teaches you how to stay focused on the prize. Sit right there. Hey, Jen, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I am fantastic. So happy to have you. How have you been? How's things going? What's going on in your world? What's the weather like?
Well, the one thing that's going on in my world right now is I'm in a massive expansion mode. And, you know, as a woman, we want to control things, right? And I am just trying to hire as many people as I possibly can right now. I think that's the biggest thing. I need some relief so I can get to some more revenue.
I totally understand that. Now, you are an author, you are a host, but you came from the real estate industry on the mortgage side, and you're a record-breaking person that probably still holds records that other people just aspire to reach. How did you get started in the mortgage industry?
Well, that is, I'm going to say the story as fast as I can. I was pre-med. I was going to be a cardiologist.
Wow.
Took one class, and that one class turned me off to the whole thing. And, you know, you look back on that and you think that's silly. That's crazy that one class would do that. But honestly, I'm okay with that now. I'm definitely okay with that because I have a better life. But and then I went into the School of Engineering. So my degree is in architectural design and construction engineering. Still very, you know, cerebral. Couldn't get a job in that industry because back then and even today, women, you know, are not architects. There weren't a bunch of women that were architects. I couldn't get a job. And my dad said, well, you can come work for me if you want. And I said, no, he's an architect. No, thanks. And I went on a job for a company. Rates were 18.5%. And I didn't even know what percent was. And that's where it started. And 38 years later, here I am.
So you started when you were what, 10?
Yeah, I wish.
38 years later. Now, the mortgage industry is kind of seen as a men's industry as well. So how did you hold your own there? I mean, you had to fight your way to the top, correct?
Yeah, and it wasn't, you know, it was a long time. I mean, that's why I'm not doing it anymore. I think, you know, as women, you know, especially our generation, you know, this is the first generation that we had these powerful power play jobs where we had to make the decision between spending time with our family or, you know, our kids are really chasing and crawling up that ladder. And for me, you know, that ladder also had grease on it, right? Because every time you think you get up, you just slide back down because someone told you you can't do this, you can't do that, you're a woman, you can't possibly, you know. And I was the token woman at every, you know, good old boy, you know, networking event, evening and dinner, that type of thing at Morton's Steakhouse, you know, all of that. And, you know, I just led with facts. I thought, well, if you can't beat them, join them. So I started, you know, just taking the reins and, you know, I did more business than they did. And eventually they worked for me instead of me working for them.
I read where you say, you know, have courage to say yes to your personal life. What does that mean to you to say yes to your personal life?
Yeah. That's a great question. And, it's because, climbing those types of ladders that we've done as, women for so many years and trying to, prove ourselves. I hate the word balance, but, proving ourselves and really trying to create, mastering our priorities so we can master our life. For me, it is making sure that I'm first, that I'm first, not my business, not my practice. And we have a tendency to, and this is not a woman thing, this is a man issue too, we think working long hours equals making more money, and it really doesn't. And so it's about being good to you first and then to your practice, and finding what truly you love to do so that you can do more of it every single day. And that's what I did. And I think that's one of the most important things right now, is to find out what truly makes you happy. For me, it's dancing. I mentioned to you before, I'm a competitive ballroom, Latin, and swing dancer. And then on the opposite side, I'm a competitive markswoman on the team. So, and everything in between makes me happy. So the more I can get that, the more that can be the priority. When I work, I'm working in a manner that is intentional and focused, and not like eating soup with a fork and being exhausted when I get home.
I love that. Not like eating soup with a fork. Now, as I sit here and read your name, it says, tell me I can't. Okay, I'll tell you, Jen, you can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I've been told all my life. People telling me that I can't do this because I'm not this, or I'm not that, whatever the things are that people tell you. You're too tall, you're too short, you're too wide, you're too much of a woman, too feminine, too masculine. You came from this, you came from that, you're not smart enough. It's something that I just love people telling me to do, because I'm going to go prove them wrong. And, but I'm going to do it in a way that's good to me, good to me, and aligns with my values and my goals and my lifestyle, that lifestyle that I want, not because I'm proving it.
Now, you're an author. You've got a couple of books out there that I know about. How did you make the transition from, being one of the top mortgage brokers in the country, not just in your area, but in the country, to deciding that I'm going to venture off and write and be an author and do that? How did that come about, and what made you decide to do it?
Well, it's funny because I never set out to write a book. I would just, once I came in the top 200 loan officers. And at the time, we had over 700,000 loan officers. So to be in the top 200, there's definitely a spotlight on you, and people were calling and wanting to pick my brain and, and get questions. Well, then I didn't have enough time. So I said, well, I'll do a podcast. That's how I'll answer your questions. And that's when I started Mortgage Lending Mastery 6 years ago. And now I have another podcast on top of that. But so I was doing the podcast, and then people wanted me to speak on stage. So I started speaking all over the country, speaking with Les Brown Jr., Les Brown, Kevin Harrington, some really top names in the industry, or not in the mortgage industry, but just on stage. And they said, you have to have a book in order to be a really good speaker. And I was like, really? So I wrote the book, and it's behind me here, Launch, How to Take Your Business to New Heights. But I wrote the book, and it's a very tactical book. Thank God there's other stories behind that, but very tactical, which is wonderful, gives people the how-to. But then once I got my toes in there, I was like, well, maybe I have some others. So I'm right now in the middle of 3 new books.
At the same time?
Should be out. The first one will probably be out June 1st, and then boom, boom, boom. Yeah, they're going to kind of come out simultaneous. They have all different reasons why they are, but I'm really, really looking forward. And the first book is called Tell Me I Can't. Tell Me I Can't. And then we've got an acronym book coming out, and then I've got a small series of little itty-bitty books that make up a package of 6 or 7 different strategies for people to use to kind of walk around with. So I'm really excited. That's kind of happening. So I feel like all of a sudden I know I have ideas and think, well, that could be a book. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
You know, I'm sitting here going, I hope she's coming back every time a book launches, because I wanna know everything about the book and everything that you're doing. I'm truly a fan of yours and everything that you have done so far, and I know you're just getting started. For somebody that's sitting at home right now and they're going, maybe I want to be in mortgage broker instead of being maybe they're a real estate broker, maybe they're a real estate agent, or they haven't touched anything yet. What would be required to be a mortgage broker today if someone wanted to get started?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a definitely a different path than it was when I was in it, right? But yeah, I mean, lots of hours of education, you know, to obtain the National Mortgage Licensing System, the NMLS license. You know, I'm not in mortgages anymore, so I don't know all the semantics of what happens in there. I retired 3 years ago, you know, to do coaching and speaking and writing apparently and podcasting, and now I'm about ready to have a streaming TV show with JD3 TV with Dr. James Dently. There's just so much going on right now. I'm taking and climbing to a new altitude, which is what I coach people on, is taking yourself to that new altitude. So yeah, if you're going to get in the business, you know, make sure that you're jumping in with both feet and that you really have passion for serving people, because this isn't about sales. It's about service to people, and really getting them the home of their dreams, you know, and this market's going to be great for the next 3 years. So hang on tight because it's happening.
Now, you've spoken on stages all over the world. You've spoken with some amazing speakers that I'm a humongous fan of. And if someone is afraid of the stage, you know, some people say, I'd rather be in a burning building than stand on a stage. What would you say to them about getting started? How important is it to be out there?
Yeah, well, it's one of the three things, right? Death, speaking in public, and something else. I don't know. I mean, not death, but I don't know what it is. There's three of them. You know, it's unfortunately, I don't know that I'm going to have any advice for people other than, again, remember you're serving people. I've just always been a person that's okay on stage. I've been a dancer. I played flute and piccolo. I was, you know, a competitive tennis player. So I've always, in a cheerleader, so I've always sort of been on stage. For those that haven't, remember that you're there to serve them. You know, right before I walk on stage, I'm Catholic, so always, you know, say a prayer to the Holy Spirit and say, you know, give me the words that transcend and impact the lives of people that I'm speaking with, even if I never know that I impacted them. So I'm always going out there not to highlight and boast me, but to give to other people. So if you have, again, I said that before, it's all about service, right? Everything I do is about service to people. And if I look at that, and even for this event, you know, just let one word that I say be an aha moment for someone that changes their life, that starts the engines running, you know, to head in that direction, to create that momentum and propelling them into those new heights that they have. So don't think about yourself, think about other people when you're walking on stage.
You know, you've done a lot in your life. You're going to do a lot more. You know, I can't wait to watch everything that's coming. But what's the one thing, you mentioned dance, you know, what's the one thing that you would do that is just your passion? You do it whether you got paid for it or not, whether anybody in the world even knew you were doing it. What's that one thing for you? Yeah, that one thing for me is, I mean, if I talk from a personal perspective, it would be dancing. Absolutely. Okay. I could just travel around the world and dance. I love the movement, you know, especially in COVID, we're sitting here. Right. And I had opportunities to do it, you know, whereas before I was at the studio 3 or 5 times a week, and now, you know, it's crazy. So I dance around the house. That's definitely it. You know, helping people break through the limiting belief that they can't do it is my life's passion. Is if I can do it, if little Jenny who ain't got a penny, that's what I was told. I was told I was going to be worthless, and I was told I couldn't this, and I was told I couldn't that. If I can break through these limiting beliefs and these naysayers and all those things, if I can do it, I want to share with the rest of the world how you can do it. Now, before I let you get out of here, I've got to ask you, where do they find your book? When is your show going to come out? Do you know? And when your new book comes out, where are you going to launch that so they know what to look for? Yeah, so everything's on Amazon.
This
Okay.
book's on Amazon, launches on Amazon. The new book, Tell Me I Can, will be on Amazon. The book after that, it's a book of acronyms, but we haven't really named it because I don't like BOA, which is Book of Acronyms. It's the acronym. It sounds like boa constrictor, so I don't like that. So we don't have a name yet for that book. And the other one is going to be something else. It'll be mindset. But all of those will be on Amazon. JD3 TV, which is James Dently, and 3 is for the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Wow.
JD3 TV will be streaming. It's coming out. It's already almost, I think it's almost active. We're going to be launching here in the next couple of weeks. My show will be on there in about 12 weeks or so. We're in production. We're interviewing our first round of people. We've written, I mean, there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. The book is being written as a Hallmark show. So we're hoping that Hallmark picks it up, and you'll see Tell Me I Can't as a Hallmark show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Perseverance. Yeah. So there's just a lot of really fun stuff going on. And, from the real estate and lending perspective, I have a couple of summits coming up. So the best way is just to go to jenduplessis.com, and you'll find everything that is going on. And you can certainly email me with any questions about summits that are coming up, or cracking the top producer code, which is another workshop I'll be doing in May. So, I mean, it's just like crazy. And I'm a grandma. Well, let me take that back. I'm a glamma.
No way. I would have never guessed that. No way.
My God, I have 3 grandkids. I've been married 38 years in a couple months.
Oh,
so yeah, so I'm a grandma. So I'm trying to spend time with them too, but I'm trying to, being pulled to take everything to a new level right now, and just excited about the opportunity.
Well, I'm so happy you could come and hang out with us for a few minutes and share your time. When you said yes, I was like, yes, she's coming. Jennifer Hammond was on earlier today. She told me to tell you hi. So she was here.
Yeah, I talked to her over the weekend too. We're on such parallel paths right now. It's just crazy. And the Jennifer and Jen show is what we call it every time we're together. But Teresa, I thank you so much for what you're doing today. And I want to honor you and acknowledge what you're doing. And I know it's a lot of work to put this together for the benefit of women on, the International Women's Day. So I want to say thank you to you for having us here.
Thank you so much. And then we need to put that show together. Jen and Jennifer, J and J. Oh yeah, we're making that happen. That's got to happen. That's a really cool show. All righty. Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for sharing your time. And I'm just going to say, I'll talk to you next time, because I hope you're coming back quite often.
I hope so too. Thank you. And God bless you for the rest of the day. I know you got a long day ahead of you, so keep it going. Make sure you hydrate. And keep yourself going. There you go.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks. All right. We're not done yet with the first half, and then we got to do the second half. But last time I didn't put a break in between, really, and I got in trouble. So I made sure I did that. So we've got a few more interviews coming up this time, and then we're going to take a break for lunch and all that, and come back and do the second half of the show. Yeah, this is going all day. When I say 27 women in a single day, I mean just that. And coming up next, this woman has the coolest name I have ever seen for a business. And I thought, why didn't I think of that? I'm creative. Coming up next is Marie Mack. What's happening, Marie? How you doing?
Hi. Good. Holy moly, my friend. I saw the list of the speakers for today and I was a little freaked out. Like, am I supposed to be here? I don't know.
Of course you're supposed to be here. What is wrong with you?
Hi, how are you holding up? Oh my gosh.
I am holding up just great. I am fine. It's like, this is fun. If my mother said there's one thing this child can do, it's talk. So, I'm doing this at home. It's like, my son-in-law is coming over to babysit the dogs later. Yeah, this is my life. This is
all good.
Life.
It's all good stuff.
So I want to talk about the name of your business, because I kind of teased to it.
Yeah.
You have the coolest name, Cup to Close.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. Where did the name come from, and what do you do with your business?
Yeah. So first, Cup to Close. When I sat down and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be an online entrepreneur. What am I going to do? How am I going to help people? what do I want the vibe to be? I just thought about a coffee shop, and I was like, what do people do? What do entrepreneurs do? What do small business owners do? They go grab a cup of coffee, they sit down, they work through some things with people, and then they close their day. So when I put together my name, I said, First Cup to Close. That's what it's going to be. I hope that it comes out and it makes sense to other people, because it's just about, hanging out with people that you love and hoping that, through the day, you can create some really amazing, impactful things inside of your business together. And so First Cup to Close came out, and that's kind of what I've been with for the last 7 years now. So.
And who's your target market? I mean, Cup to Close could be bakeries, it could be entrepreneurs, it could be doctors. I mean, everybody pretty much starts with a cup and is trying to close on something today. So who's your target market?
Ideally, we work with online coaches. So we work with a lot of online business coaches, a lot of online women coaches primarily. So our target market is all about those women who are making amazing things happen inside of the online world. And we sit down with them and we just say, hey, what are we going to do together? How can we make things happen? Whether it's the close of your day, whether it's the close of a deal, whether it's the close of an event online, we just sit there, we work through it together and hope that we can bring some expertise to it, bring some calm to the storm that is creation online, that is getting your name out there online. So First Cup to Close is all about putting those things together. But yeah, primarily we work with online business owners. So
now, you didn't start as an entrepreneur. This is not something that, you just got up when you were like 10, like me, and said, I'm going to start a business. You actually have a military career, correct?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I do. So I have a background as a Black Hawk helicopter pilot. And it's so funny because just as we got on, I don't know if you could hear it outside, but we live right outside of DC and we're right on a flight path for Black Hawk helicopters. So just a second ago, you saw like a shadow come by. That was a Black Hawk helicopter flying over my house. So I'm consistently reminded that my Black Hawks are out there and they love me. But yeah, I started as a Black Hawk helicopter pilot in my life, and then just took all of that organization and planning and like, how do we make things happen in an efficient way? And then bundled it all up to be an entrepreneur. And that was about, 2014, I think I started doing all that. So.
Okay, before we go any further, I got to pop this up. Ashley Price says, hey, girl, hey. So I wanted to make sure you saw that.
Oh, my sweet Ashley. I love her. Hello, my friend.
Now, you don't shift. I mean, I'm prior military as well. I'm Navy. I didn't do anything as cool as being a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, but I have always wanted my helicopter's license. And my family keeps telling me, no, I'm not going to get it. But I may sneak off and go take some classes after hanging out with you.
Yes.
Now, how do you shift from, because you're a mom, right?
Yeah.
So how do you shift from military, your husband's military, to, Black Hawk helicopter pilot? I know you got amazing stories to tell. I have to have you come on when we start talking with veterans and share these old battle stories, to, I'm going to create a business, Cup to Close. How did that happen? How did that transition happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, married my husband, absolutely love it. That happens a lot with us military people. And we had our son. He's absolutely amazing. He's 10 now, but he was about 6 months old and we both came up on deployment orders. And we were supposed to go to Iraq at the same time around 2010. So any military people out there, you understand Iraq in 2010, that was a thing. And we just decided, I think that it's best that one of the parents stays home. So I resigned my commission at that time. I'm looking at my shift like, okay, I have these kids. I have a son and a daughter. We homeschool full time. They're sitting out there. I had to lock the door because I was like, listen, I got a thing. 15 minutes. Just give me a couple minutes. So they're out here and I'm moving through this career thinking like, what do I have now that I'm done with this? But I'm a full-time mom. I'm homeschooling full-time and I still want to serve a community. So I just went through all of my assets that I had, and I found that a lot of online entrepreneurs didn't have that time on target kind of thing. They knew that they wanted to get to the end goal, whatever that was, but they didn't know the steps to get there. So I just took everything that I had, started working with a couple people saying, hey, we can make this happen. Yeah, big dream you've got. We can do that. Absolutely, friend. But we're going to do it one step at a time. And this is how we're going to do it. So I put all my stuff together and then created this business around it. And First Cup to Close came out. And it just kind of is settled in that. And it's a really beautiful place because it takes the expertise of my team and it takes the expertise of those that are out there. And we're finding that we're finishing goals. You know, people have these amazing, amazing online goals. But if you don't have the path to get there, a lot of times they fall flat. So that's where our First Cup to Close comes in. And kind of the transition between, you know, a full-time military person into a military wife, into a full-time mom, into an online business. But my drive was to stay home with my kids. And how am I going to do that? I got to do something online. And now this business here, being all online, means that we're location independent. There we go. And we get to be home with our kids full time, which is absolutely amazing. So 2 things all about it. And then serve some amazing people online.
So with homeschooling, how are you balancing your business and homeschooling? A lot of people, schools are starting to open up again. I think I heard that in Nevada, we've got like 70% of the kids are back in class at some point of the day. But how are you balancing your business and kids, especially small kids? Don't they, you know, want to run in and hug? Don't they want to come in and talk? Don't they, you know, how are they understanding that mommy is working right now, but she's right down the hall in that door? How are you doing that?
So we do a lot of stuff on the weekends. I do a lot of, my part-time job is my homeschool job. So believe it or not, I have a whole plan that I put together on Sunday. And I send, of course I do. And my kids are amazing. You know, they've always been homeschool kids. I know that was not the fact for a lot of people that had to move into the online homeschooling world. But we put together a plan as a family. We know that on Sundays, we're going to review that plan. I have every day laid out on what they need to do as far as schoolwork goes. We use some online classes. We use a OutSchool. I'll just go ahead and give a little shout out. OutSchool is amazing. There's some amazing teachers on there doing some different kind of classes. We use that. But my big thing is that I want to be here. And yes, I do have interviews. And yes, there's a time where I have to say, hey, listen, I got a thing. And that's important. But at any time, all of my clients know, hey, a kid might come in and we might need to have a hug, and you can, it's okay. Give us 30 seconds. We're going to have this conversation with my 10-year-old. He's important just as much as anybody else. And I think that kind of gives a reality to what life is, right? Like, we're not all independent of the fact that we have kids and we have a life, and I have a dog that at any moment can start barking, and that's okay.
I've got 3.
Yeah, but that's who we are, right? And we want our people who are working with us to understand, you know, this is who we are, and we're going to keep moving forward and going to keep doing stuff. But in the midst of that, we still enjoy life. And so I could totally take my business into a corporate space and I could close everything off and I could be in a sterile environment. Or I could know that, you know, after this call, I get to go have a snack with my kids. We're going to sit down and review their math and just say, hey, how was the last class that you did? And I think it's just a matter of knowing what your limits are as a parent and as a business owner. I'm intentionally don't have any business meetings on Wednesdays. I just don't. I don't want to. I want to be with my kids, and we take time when we go to, you know, when things start opening up, we're at museums or at parks or whatever. And so it's the quality of life that I wanted to create with First Cup to Close, was to be able to have the kids in part of that. But again, it took time. It takes a lot of conversation, and they're just as much a part of our business as anybody else that's working with us.
So before I let you get out of here, because, you know, this 15 minutes is going like
goes by fast
with everybody.
Right?
It goes really, really fast. You have to come back on the show and hang out with us and all that kind of stuff. And we'll really get in.
Friend.
But as a prior, you know, military myself, you know, a lot of our brothers and sisters have issues just trying to you know, from one side of the military to being in the civilian world and adapting. You know, how did you do that? I mean, you're a helicopter pilot. I know you saw some very interesting things, and one day we'll get into that, I hope. You know, and then you come home and you're watching them fly by and you're not in them. How did you make that transition from one side to the other?
Well, I think I shift my focus, right? Everything in life is about what are we focusing on? I mean, it's worth, right? A lot of times it's like, what am I doing in life to make a difference? And at one point, making a difference was flying Black Hawk helicopters. Now my shift in life is creating 2 amazing homeschool human beings. My shift in life is to impact as many people as I can inside of my business. So when I shifted my focus and said, I still have a lot of things I can give. I don't have to be in the military to be able to make a really big thing happen in my life. And so by shifting my focus and saying, if I get up every single day and I do the best for my kids and I do the best for my husband and I do the best I can for my clients, I'm making an impact in the world. It completely, it just shifted the way that I was thinking between saying, am I still worthy? Because a Black Hawk helicopter, that's really hard to top in life, And so making this next thing happen and seeing the joy in my clients' life when I'm sitting down with them and we have an amazing strategy session and we have the plan and it's working and it's like, oh, sales are coming in because of it. All of that comes together and you just get that same kind of high and excitement that happened when you're flying by in a Black Hawk helicopter. So.
Well, you're the best. You're awesome. I'm so excited to know you. I know that,
Yes,
we're going to do a few cups to closes coming up. And I hope you'll come back on and we can sit down and talk some more about some more topics. But for now, I want to thank you for carving out just a little bit of time to hang out with us for International Women's Day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Good luck. You've got a couple more and then take a break. Okay, friend?
Yeah. I've got 2 more. Then we go on lunch break and then we come back and do the second half. So I am here. My butt will be welded to the seat by the end of the day.
You're doing fantastic. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this group of women. Oh my gosh. Absolutely amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, friend.
All right. So coming up next, my buddy. She's my pal. She's my friend. Heck, some of the times she feels like she's one of my kids. And she's made the number 9 really important in my life. And I didn't know numbers would even matter. But now it's like I literally contact her before I do things and say, okay, I'm thinking about this date. Coming up right now is my friend, Cindy Van Arnam. Hey, Cindy, what's happening?
Hi. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. Now, let me ask you, is my sound good for you on your side? You hear me okay? Yeah, I think my headphones is dying. Let me try to switch a headphone here because I think my headphone's trying to die. And we can't have that. So we're gonna see if they'll pair together and then I look like I'm wearing white earrings or whatever. It's okay. Yeah. So what's been going on with you? Let's talk about, we got to start from the beginning. I know you've been on the show many times. You're a regular, but we got to tell people what you do other than the fact that, I just love everything that you do. You are a quantum numerologist. Yes?
Yes. And wealth activator.
Mm-hmm. Explain. What's a quantum numerologist and how do you activate wealth? Let's start with quantum numerologist.
Yeah, well, the gist of being a quantum numerologist and wealth activator means that I help you understand who you are, what you want, and how to get it. That's the simple version. Okay. Quantum numerology, let's dive into that. So everything that we look at in our physical reality has a mathematical code to it.
Okay. Oh no, Cindy froze. No, we haven't froze all day. Cindy. Come on. I look forward to all of them. But Cindy froze. Come on, Cindy. Now, what's funny is if she's only froze here and not anywhere else. Let's see if she comes back. There she is.
Could you hear me? What happened there? I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, okay. I was like, come on. And I thought it would be funny if you're talking and I'm the one frozen and everybody's going, what is she doing? Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if anybody can hear me. I don't know what's happening.
No, couldn't hear you, couldn't see you. You just did your statue pose. Okay, going back. Quantum numerology.
Yes. So everything in our physical reality that we can perceive with our eyes has a mathematical code. So this
Okay.
mathematical code also applies to human beings. And so based on your date of birth, we can get a clear vision of the foundation of your personality with your ruling number, as well as lean into what I personally love to do is the forecasting piece. Now, this is not fortune telling. It's not a crystal ball, but what we can do, just like we can predict the weather, we can also predict the energetic influences that you'll be experiencing throughout your lifetime. And so we can look to that and use that information to leverage it to your advantage.
And that's why I love the number 9. I mean, is that where that came from? Okay.
Yeah, you're
so
a 9.
when you came on the first time, I was completely panicked. I mean, I didn't know anything. I'm like, what are we talking about? My business partner, Ann, said, oh my gosh, we got to get her on. This is awesome. And I'm going, well, you talk to her. I have no idea what to say to this woman. And she said, no, you'll be fine. Get in there. So you came on and I sat here like this most of the whole interview because I had no idea that this stuff actually happened. And it's not a crystal ball like you stated. No. It's science. It truly is science. And now when we get ready to have an event, when we get ready to do anything special, I call you, say, I'm thinking of these dates, and you go, yeah, this is good, or no, keep your butt away from that date. It's not going to work out for you. And then every quarter or so, you send me this report that is like it's reading my mind. I mean, the last one that you sent me, I was like, that's exactly what we're doing. What is that report called, and how do you generate that?
Yeah, so that's usually what I would do as an annual forecast. And it's best to do it around your birthday, preferably just before your birthday, where I can lean into the influences that you'll be experiencing for the year ahead. And we can look at the particular rhythm of your year. And it comes from your date of birth. And we look at the different seasons throughout your year, because if you notice throughout your year, there's times where you're doing a lot of thinking. There's times where it feels like all of your relationships are top of mind at this point. Then there's other times where it feels like you're really busy and other times where you're not. And so understanding that rhythm is super powerful, and the ability to leverage that for success. I work with entrepreneurs the most, but I work with anybody who wants to know this information. And when you know when it's time to go and when it's time to pause, it's a game changer.
Yeah, it is a good game changer. It also takes off stress.
Yes.
Because you're wondering if you're going in the right direction. You're like, am I going in the right direction? Am I doing the right thing? What's this about? And then I send a message to Cindy, usually on Facebook, and I say, hey, busy, this is what's going on. And she tells me the truth. And that's what I need. I need somebody in my camp that tells me when I'm crazy, which Ann and Alan and Geraldine make sure of that, and then tells me when I'm on the right course. And you do that so well. Let's talk about wealth building. How does all this tie together into wealth building?
Yeah, absolutely. So wealth has become a conversation that I've been really passionate about for the last year. It's been a huge growth path for myself, which is why I want to talk about it. I used to be so attached to the physical aspect of what money was. And I didn't understand what money actually is and how money flows in and out of our life. So just like human beings have a rhythm, so does money. And when we can understand what wealth actually is and release some of that old programming around money and start writing a new story and understanding the quantum science behind money and what it actually is and how it moves in and out of our life, then you can create massive wealth, which is what I've been building for the last year, and I'm super excited about it.
Now, explain it. You got to go deeper, because I know somebody is sitting out there saying Tigo has lost it now. She keeps bringing the Cindy person back. She really believes in her, and I don't get it. So explain a little bit more so that the person who's just hearing about Cindy for the first time gets what it is you mean by wealth building and how you're doing.
Yeah, so wealth isn't about money. Money is a side effect of the feeling of wealth. So from a quantum science perspective, everything is energy, and energy can neither be created nor can it be destroyed. It can only be transmuted into something else. And so that creates ultimate possibility for us when we've got our mindset right and we are thinking and feeling the things that we want to think and feel and experience. So most of us go around thinking that there's not enough. And so that creates not enough. But a
Right.
lot of us are shifting into this wealth activation piece where we're thinking and believing that we are already wealthy. We're tapping into the feeling of wealth right here, right now. And you can do that. Just look at your relationships, look at the house you live in, look at your belongings, and tell me that you can't feel wealthy in this moment, or the experiences that you're having in your life. And by focusing on that energy, you are creating a circuit in the quantum field that brings more back to you.
Y'all see why we love this woman? I mean, she kind of just breaks it down, and you at first you listen to her going, what is she rambling about? And then you listen to her and go, wait a minute, she's talking to me. So for an entrepreneur that's out there, for somebody who is just getting started in the industry that they want to, master, how would they find someone like you? Do they need someone like you? Do you need to be in a certain level in your business or a certain education or a certain age before you go and find, the Cindy of the world, the quantum numerologist?
Well, I wouldn't say that you need someone like me, but it sure as hell helps. It's nice to have somebody in your corner. And I believe that every coach needs a coach. Every entrepreneur needs somebody in their back pocket to help support them in moving forward. I work with universal laws. I teach self-mastery and emotional mastery. Those are key points to have as an entrepreneur, because the entrepreneurial world's a little bit crazy. So yes, I would say that having somebody like me would be very supportive. I'm easy to find. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram or email or my website. I'm really easy to find. There are a few quantum numerologists out there, not a lot. And I'm unique in the way that I show up. I work specifically with entrepreneurs. I don't care how old you are. You can be 20, you can be 80. And it is never too late. It's never too early to get into this game, because it's a game.
I got to give a quick shout out. One of my buddies is out there. Lauren Michaels Harris is out there. He's a host. He's a motivator. He's inspiring. And he's supporting International Women's Day. Thank you so much, Lauren, for coming and hanging out with us. Cindy, you amaze me. I'd said it earlier. My mother said, one thing this child can do is talk. And you leave me speechless more times than I can count, just because you keep things so real. Mm-hmm. And one of the first things that you kept real with me was birthdays and New Year's, because we were coming up. It was like October. And I said, okay, everybody's all excited about New Year. And she went, well, that's not really their New Year.
Yep.
And I went, what? And my birthday is in November. And she said, well, there's your New Year. And I'm going to let you explain that. Why is your birthday your New Year?
Yeah, I mean, you were born on your birthday, which makes sense that it would be your new year. And collectively, we all experience January 1st as New Year. And so we all think, well, we need to set New Year's intentions and we need to have our resolutions in place. But unless you were born in January, it's going to be really hard to stick to those resolutions and intentions, because you're actually interrupting your own rhythm. We land into this particular rhythm on our birthday where when you land into your birthday, you start thinking about what you want to achieve this year. And I know for me, I'm coming up on my 40th birthday, so it's becoming very top of mind. What do I want to do in this 40th year of my life? And your year goes from your birthday to your birthday. We do feel a little bit of it around January 1st, just because of collective energy. We're all connected. We'll all feel it. But if you were born in June, please don't set New Year's resolutions unless you're setting them in June.
Now, I want to reveal something. We've had it scrolling by a couple of times, and people may have paid attention. They may not have paid attention. But your show, you have your own show, Rebel Radio. You do this show every Friday, and you decided to take this journey with us with Pod Nation TV. And you were the first show that we brought over that was outside of our internal productions. And I'm so happy. We've got, I think, 44 or 45 episodes of your show on our network now. And you are the best. I mean, you're coming over and you're talking with some amazing people. Can you tell people a little bit about Rebel Radio?
Yeah, Rebel Radio started off as a passion project. Everybody told me, you need to plan a year in advance. And I'm a rebel. And I said no. And I just launched it in 2 weeks. It has been such a beautiful experience. Some of the people that I get to interview and have conversations with have just, they have the most spectacular stories and the most beautiful way of showing entrepreneurs that anybody can be an entrepreneur, that it doesn't matter what walk of life you've come from. It's never too late to step into the best version of yourself and really step up and help serve the world. So I love the show. It's so much fun. Every day on Friday, I'm like, it's Rebel Radio Day.
What's coming up? What kind of guests do you have coming? Come on, tell me a little bit. You got to give me more. Give me more.
I just released an episode from last week. Jody Dean was on the show. He is a conscious channel for different streams of consciousness, and he was a really interesting guest. We kind of broke some of the status quo, the taboo around talking about spirituality and channeling. We talked about the science of channeling and what it actually is so that we could, break through that mainstream, because I think channeling's had this weird reputation for a long time that it's this woo-woo weird stuff. It's just a brainwave state. So we talk about the science in that show. It was really fun.
So Lauren's still here. He's hanging out with us, and he said, great point. He never thought about it like that. July 4th is his new year. And it truly does help, Lauren. It helps a lot, because for me, I'm what I want to do in my, now that I'm 57, gonna be 58 in November, what's next, and then everybody starts talking about New Year, and you almost feel like you lost a couple of months. You have to reset your calendar. But now that I know that's my New Year, I watch the fireworks from TV for New Year's Eve. That's about it. I do everything else on my birthday or before, right around my birthday. Well, my friend, I want to thank you for hanging out with me again. When I call, you come running. I appreciate you. I'm so proud to have you on Pod Nation TV. If you guys want to check out Cindy, you can check out Rebel Radio on Pod Nation TV on Roku right now, and any day now it'll be on Amazon Fire. We are, growing by leaps and bounds, and a lot of it has to do with listening to this young lady here when she says, yeah, that's a cool idea, or no, stay away from there. I appreciate you. You are the best, and I will talk to you soon.
Oh, thank you so much, Tigo. I love and adore you, and so grateful for this space.
Bye-bye. Okay, so after this break, we come back. We have somebody who is literally our cheerleader. We have something coming up, and she runs with it and says, you need this person, you need that person. Have you talked to so-and-so? Blah, blah, blah. A lot of the things that you see happening today happens because this doctor, yes, you heard me say that right, this doctor actually has our back and supports us all the way. So sit right there. We'll be right back. Okay, you guys bear with me. I'm hoping you're not getting feedback from me. I'm going to have to ask the doctor if she's getting any feedback, because my headset just died, and I'm like, okay, how do I do that? I need to let that charge for a second. So I'm going to welcome Dr. Colleen Mayer to the show. What's happening, Doc? What's going on? Hold on one second. I cannot hear you. Let me see what I can do.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you. It wasn't you. It was me. My sound is going out. Are you getting feedback from me?
No feedback at all.
Good.
How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me again. I feel
Thank
so
you so much for
honored.
being a part of it. I mean, we couldn't do this without the doctor. Come on now.
Come on. Thank you so much. I
Wait, you're not
appreciate
a
you.
medical doctor. That's
No.
not what you do. You're a doctor of education, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I
Okay.
have a degree from USC in organizational change and leadership. Yes.
And what does that mean? Organizational change and leadership. What do you do with a degree like that? How did you decide to get a degree like that?
Well, I decided to get the degree in organizational change because it's fascinating to me. You know, you have these people with these great minds that are running these great businesses. And when it's time to create change in a business, 75, 80% of all change management fails.
Mhm.
And yeah, and there's all kinds of different reasons. They do due diligence when it comes to money, but they don't do due diligence when it comes to culture and different other things like that. So it's interesting. So when I thought I'm going to go for my doctorate, what fascinated me in this change management is finding a way to get from point A to point B and do it successfully.
I love that. I love that. Now you own
Me
a business.
too.
You own a business, and your main focus, my understanding, is branding and marketing, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, because you can take, if you're going to do branding and marketing, you have to combine it with strategic planning. And I get people that say, I'm marketing and I'm posting and I'm doing this and I'm getting absolutely zero results. But that's not marketing. Marketing is research. Who is your customer? And if you tell me your customer is everybody, no, your customer is not everybody. I hear that all the time. And so you go, who's your customer? Who's your buyer persona? Let's break it down into demographics and socioeconomics. And are they married or are they family oriented? Who are your customers? And you create this buyer persona. And then you look at your competition.
Right.
And, and there's all these things you have to look at strategically. And then you can say, okay, let me get into marketing. But when I say research, I just don't mean like looking at your competition on the internet or on Facebook. It's looking at keywords. It's looking at you're looking at, go into Google Ads and find out what keywords are being most used when you're doing pay-per-click ads. There's it's this huge, not hard, but there's stuff that you need to look at, and you have to tie that into your strategic plan. Because if you're marketing, you're saying I'm marketing this, and this with these topics, which should be planned out 30 days in advance. Does your marketing support your strategic plan? Because if they're not lined up together, you're going to have a hard time getting from point A to point B. So go ahead, Teresa.
Now I'm getting feedback. Now I hear it. This is going to drive me nuts. I've got to go to a wired headset.
Okay.
No. I'm going to do it after the break, but I've got to go to a wired headset after the break is over. Let me ask you a question. There's somebody sitting out there watching right now, and they're going, yeah. I started a business. I'm working out of my garage or my guest room. I don't have marketing money. I don't have branding money. I just put an ad on Facebook and I got a YouTube channel. What would you tell them?
Well, if they're starting out, if you do your research, you don't need a lot of money. Do you need a lot of money to research your competitions on the web? Do you need a lot of money to go into Google Ads and go in there and you have to kind of like set it up like you're going to run an ad and it leads you into some keywords, but you don't have to run the ad. Does that cost a lot of money? No. And here's the biggest mistake people make when they're marketing. Market for the problem. So in other words, what is your customer's problem? Your customer's problem is, I don't know, they can't sleep at night. Maybe they have anxiety, they have this. Okay, so how are you going to fix that problem with your product? And that's what you should have a motivational post. You should have posts that are educational. You should have posts that, show a person, that's like, oh, I'm having anxiety. Just get out there, make these different posts, but make it address the problem your product is going to fix. Not just your product, because people don't care about your product. People care about what your product can do for them. And that's where there's that mistake people make.
Yeah, answer the question. I mean, people have concerns and issues, and they're looking for answers. They're not looking for more questions. You know, answer the question. And I try to tell people that all the time. Now, for you as a business owner, who is your target audience? Are you focused on established businesses in a certain range? Are you looking at startups, or do you kind of, you know, adjust according to the client?
We adjust according to the client. My business is for businesses under $5 million a year profits, right around, because we're focusing a lot on the businesses, the startups, the small businesses, because we believe that every business owner should have access to marketing by a marketing professional. They should have access to understanding how to create strategy for your business. So we have different types of levels of packages they can purchase based on their budget.
So if I'm sitting at home and I'm thinking of starting a business right now, and I'm looking at this, you know, when would I know it's time to reach out to you or someone like you? Like, should I be at $1 million a year? Should I have a certain amount of clients? What should I be looking at before I start looking for outside help?
If you're a startup or you're starting a new business, you should be talking to a marketing person during the business planning process. Because remember, in your business plan, there's a section of your business plan that's going to be just for marketing. Even if you don't hire, let's say, you know, I don't have a whole lot of money, but you can hire a marketing professional to help you through that process of creating that in the marketing section of your business plan. Because what is your business plan? Your business plan, you're going to go show that to a bank. You're going to go show that to an investor, right? You're going to use that as your roadmap to take your business from point A to point B. So if you need help, that's when I don't think it's too early to start with a marketing, but a business plan. What I like about them is when you create a business plan, the business plan is going to tell you it's a go or no go. If your business is, ready to go, or if you need to step back and, make a few tweaks to it.
Now, you mentioned a business plan, and I've talked to many, many people, and they go, people still do those? They don't even think about a business plan. They just go to Fiverr and order a logo and get started. How important is a business plan? Do you need one, even if you're not going to be getting a loan from a bank and you're going to be doing this from your living room? How important is a business plan?
Okay, business plan is the roadmap. The business plan is a roadmap. So what are you looking at? You're looking at you're projecting your financials. You're creating a mission, value, and vision. You're creating your marketing plan. You're spying on your competition. You're setting up your accounting. It encompasses your whole business. So if you're looking to create a strategy, my recommendation is the business plan comes first. That's the foundation. It's like building a house and not having the floor, not having the walls.
I love that.
So you have to have the,
like building a house and not having the walls.
You come in the door and it all falls on around you. Well, you know why? Because you didn't have your foundation set before you you started building that house, and now you're like, what's happening? Well, that's happening.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention Nalbo, because you guys were gracious enough to let me come on and speak at your mastermind. And Nalbo is a national organization. It's not just local in California or Nevada. Can you explain what Nalbo is and what you do?
Okay, NAVO is, and Robin Harrison, who you had on earlier today, is part of NAVO. NAVO is the National Association of Women Business Owners, and it is an amazing group. I sit on the board here in the Inland Empire. I am the program's chair, and Robin works for the state, sits on the board of state of California, NAVO, and she is women's advocacy. And it's an amazing organization. There's so much that they do behind the scenes in Washington, advocating for women's rights, and the new law they just passed where we have to have women on boards and people of color on boards. NAVO is a big part of that advocacy, and we support women business owners to grow their business, to get education, to network with each other. And it's just an amazing support system. So we're all over the country. If anybody wants to become a member of NAVO, National Association of Women Business Owners, I would highly recommend it, highly.
So what's next for you? I mean, Doctor, you're out there doing your thing, and you're part of Nabo. You have your marketing agency. Your name is right behind you. Your consulting firm.
Mhm.
What's next for you? You tell me the business plan is a roadmap. What does your roadmap say? Where are you going next?
We're going to grow this business and we're going to take it to the next level. I think we're going to be, I'm going to be working with Robin, and we're going to be taking it to where we're going to be bidding on state and federal jobs, local jobs. So we're going to be taking it. We're going to register. We have we are working together, and we created a business that's under Meyer and Mintz and Watchman Investigations, and we're going to be working with becoming a licensed women business owner, and we're going to be applying for state and federal, local marketing and different types of jobs that they have out there. So I think that's going to be our big next step for Meyer Mintz. And also, of course, we have our podcast, Fearless in Pink. And thank you so much for being on Fearless in Pink, Teresa. So
That was fun.
So that's going to be my goal for this year, is to make sure that, we're really going to bring that up a notch and get it out there in syndications and stuff like that. So it sounds so fun.
It is so fun, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. And I hope you'll come back to the next crazy thing and the next crazy thing that I come up with. I'm so excited to know you. You and I, your brother is my brother from another mother and father, Frank Perillo. And that's how we met each other. And as much as I want to put him in a headlock half the time, I love that guy. He really has always been in my corner for the last, 7 or 8 years now. I mean, we had our studio in his space until COVID, came and kicked us out. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I know we'll be talking soon. You're the best, Doc. You're the absolute best.
Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, you made it through the first half, and thank you so much for hanging out with me for the first half. Now, this is just the first half. If you thought we brought amazing women for the first half, the second half of this event today is going to rock you away. These women called, I texted, I emailed, I begged, and I said, please come hang out with me. Come spend time with me for International Women's Day. And they said, of course. How can I help? What can I do? I actually had more women say they wanted to come than what we could fit into the schedule, because my family made me promise I would take this lunch break. So we're going to take a little break. We'll be back at 2:30 Pacific time right here. If you're watching it on my page or somebody else's page, we'll be back at 2:30 Pacific time today with the second half of the International Women's Day Marathon. So I hope to see you sitting right there. I'm Tigo, and I'll talk to you at 2:30.